Eric Wolf with his ninth pole.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Dynasty Racing League. Sorry for some technical issues there at the beginning of the race. My name's Ryan Branch. I am back full-time here with the DRL. This is the Molnar Automotive Cup Series. I'm joined tonight, at the beginning at least, by Getty Buckner. Getty, you ready for this race tonight at Pocono, man?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Anytime we come into Pocono, we're in for a good treat.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. We now have, if I can get it all pulled up here. Sorry, everybody, again, for all these technical issues at the beginning here. Things weren't loading correctly as far as graphics go, but Eric Wolf takes a pole again. That is Eric Wolf's ninth pole position of the season. He's only been able to pull out one win, and I bet you won't be able to guess which track that win came at, Getty.
Yeah, no, I knew it. It's no surprise that it was here. Eric Wolf actually is very notorious for being a Pocono guru, if you will.
Yeah, he's crazy good, man. It has a lot to do with the technical parts of the track, right? These corners are big, they're wide. You got to get out of the gas and into the gas at the perfect time. And he's the king of it. I mean, he's proven it time and time again. We said it during the last time we were at Pocono. He really knows how to drive that car on the edge, and I expect him to run away with this one again tonight. The only reason he didn't lead every lap, I feel like, last time we were at Pocono here is because he kind of got shuffled back in his first pit stop. So we'll see how he does this evening. I would like to get him in here for a quick interview, but I don't think I'm going to have the time after the technical problems earlier. We are going to try to run through a starting grid here real quick. So we got Eric Wolf on the pole again. Joseph Helt, who also did it very well here the last time, in second. Anthony Burrows third. Spencer Tart holds the fourth position. Michael Morley holds fifth. Wade Hustad, who also had a great run here earlier in the season, starts sixth. John Theodore seventh. Dustin Musel starts in the eighth position. Kian Riley Howell starts in ninth. Andrew Schmeier starts in 10th. Mike Springer 11th. Thomas Harmon sits in 12th. Jonathan Schwartz, who had a great run last time by, 13th. Matthew George, 14th. Got Chris Stouffer in the 15th position in the 07. Jeffrey Myers, 16th. Eric Johnson, 17th. Jim Westerfield in 18th. Got Steven Sims in 19th. Mark Johnson in 20th. Got Chris James in 21st. Bill Edwards in 22nd. See Mike Lemon there in the 87. He sits in 23rd. Aaron James in 24th. Alexander Russell in 25th, David Wellborn 26th, and we're about to go green here. Eric Wolf gets off to a nice quick jump here at the beginning of the race.
Yeah, we got Theodore looking inside, maybe trying to go three wide here, and as they go into turn one. Otherwise, calm in the top five.
Yeah, turn one can be difficult. I mean, all these guys, you're trying to get up to top speed. The first time by turn one is not as big of a deal, right? But you kind of hit that tricky gear spot where you're trying to switch from third to fourth, and you don't know at what time to do it and at what time to start braking. So that can cause a little bit of issues.
Yeah, looking back, it's just about everyone is deciding to take it easy here, and at least in the top 10 or 15, and go single file.
Yeah, Eric Wolf staying there, first through fifth, all staying in their exact starting positions. Wade Hustad did get a position on that start there. He is in the fifth position now in the number 32 low fear car there. Wade Hustad last time he ran just behind Eric Wolf for a majority of the race. Eric Wolf was kind of in a class of his own. Joseph Helt was also up there for a majority of the race and couldn't hold the position. I think it was, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a guy who was fresh to the league last time. He's not in the race this evening, but
Eli Hinton, I believe, is I think that's
exactly.
the name that comes to mind.
Yeah, he was racing my number in the 23 there, doing very well for a majority of that race, but some unfortunate pit circumstances towards the end. Might have cost him a couple positions. He did get a couple lucky caution flags at the end of that race and was able to come in second, but without those cautions, he would have been in a much worse position. So, Getty, what does turn two have to do with this, and how is this track different from the Talladega or the other tri-ovals that we see?
Well, the stress that this track has on these cars is unlike any other that we see. I mean, because all other, the other tracks that we visit have 4 corners, but really it's 2. Here it's 3, so you're diving down, an extra time, and that tunnel turn really, seems to be one of the more important turns of the 3 because of its high speed capabilities. You can lose or gain a lot of speed through that tunnel turn there. Obviously, it's called the tunnel turn because, in fact, there is a tunnel that runs underneath it. But yeah, it's the tricky triangle, and Ryan, I know you've mentioned it before. It's unique. We just don't go to a place anywhere like it.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, the tri-oval of Talladega looks similar to the track on paper, right? If you look at the two compared to one another, but completely different tracks. Very slight banking here at Pocono compared to the others, and you talked about high speed. I mean, turn 1 is the high speed corner, right? But turn 1 is a much more sweeping corner than turn 2 is. That's that apex of the triangle, the top of the triangle. So turn 2, even though you're going into turn 1 at 204, 205, 206 miles per hour, you have much more time to get into the brake and get back into the gas, and you can take that big wide corner. Turn 2, you're doing 196, 197 when you start to come to the brakes there, and you got to get around that corner quick. It's not an easy feat.
Well, and one thing that you'll see here, and this is another reason why I think Eric Wolf is good here, is you have the possibility of shifting here. Eric Wolf, we saw at Sonoma earlier in the year. He started in the back of the pack. He passed almost everybody, because when it comes to braking, shifting while at high speeds, and also avoiding that rear end wheel hop. He's got it down. That's why right now he does have a 0.4 of a second lead over Joseph Held. So it's no surprise that he's out here doing well on as you called earlier, a very technical track.
Yeah, when you do that shifting, you talking about it. A lot of these guys on iRacing, and I can't speak for everybody in the league. I don't know who uses what, but if you're not used to using a gear shifter, if you're a paddle shifter guy, right? You use those paddle shifters in the back of your wheel. You might not necessarily be used to the whole shifting factor, especially if you're running in the ovals. So you have to pump the gas. When you gear down to that third gear, if you don't pump the gas, that back end's going to come out on you, and at the very least, it's going to skip. And if you're hitting a low spot in the track, say goodnight to the back end of that car.
Yeah. They go. Well, I think they call that rev matching, or the technical term for it. And as Held gets a little loose coming off of turn 1 on the Long Pond straightaway there. That's another thing is, exit here is so important, Ryan. And Martin Wenzel has also joined us here. He can allude to this as well. The exits, if you don't have that, I mean, look at all the space on this track that you're losing time if you don't get the exits of these corners correct.
Yeah, the exits are definitely the most important part of this track. As I talked about earlier, getting up to that 200 miles per hour at the end of these straightaways. If you don't exit that corner right, you're only going to get up to 195, right? So that entire back straight or front straight, you're gaining speed like crazy. And, if these other guys got out of the corner better than you, period, that's their time to come zooming by you, because not only are they gaining speed because they got out of the corner better than you, but they're also in your draft.
Yeah, and another thing that you'll see is on exit, here at Pocono, you'll see a lot of give and take, because this is one place where you don't really want to get stuck in a side-by-side battle, because with the exception of turn 3, relatively, there's really one dominant groove here. So if you're stuck in a side-by-side battle in turns 1 and 2, you're just losing so much time to the people in front of you, and the person behind you is catching you at such a alarming rate because of those exit speeds that you give up when you're running side-by-side with somebody. That's why we see it's pretty spread out right now, fairly single file also.
You saw Anthony Burrows able to make his way around Joseph Helt there after a mistake or two by Helt. He had the same issues earlier in the season at Pocono. Ran great times. He was awesome in practice, able to run a nice fast lap here, during qualifying, etc. But consistency definitely a major issue here, and nobody does it like Eric Wolf. I mean, that number 24 car is so consistent week in and week out. He does have 9 pole positions here. He's great at running the fast lap, but he's also good over long runs. That's why it surprises me. We see him currently has only 1 win this season, Anthony Burrows in the 62, who sits second now. He's got, what is it, 7 wins already this season, which is just unheard of in a series like this with so much stiff competition. Caution flag does come out. We are 9 laps in out of 80 here. Definitely a short little run for these guys. Not able to get in as many laps as they would have liked before this first caution comes out. Getty, you got an idea where that caution happened?
Yeah, Salvatore, there's an Gennaro on the track, but he looks like he, after the yellow flag, had trouble.
Kean Howell was actually, we were talking about side-by-side battles. He and Jonathan Schwartz had just got done going 3 wide with Jonathan Theodore just a couple 100 feet before that caution came out, and it was...
Ooh, yeah, he came out and hit the wall.
It was Howell. Again, with the heat in those right side tires, it's possible that he didn't know that he was going to overdrive that corner, with that side-by-side battle that he was engaged in.
Let's go back and take a look here, see if we can catch it from on Theodore's in-car camera. Or not in-car camera, behind him.
Yep, turn 2. Came out a little too hot.
And that's that's another thing to bring up real quick while we're watching Branch bring up the replay. There is, once you get really any damage here at all, that puts an end to your day, because Pocono is so aerodynamically driven.
Well, especially if you slam that front end, he probably knocked out his engine as well. That's what the contact he had. It's so hard. It looks like everyone's going down pit road.
Still having issues finding Key and Riley Howell here. I don't know what's going on.
Well, take our word for it. It wasn't pretty. But yeah, not a surprise to see everyone pit here. The right front tire here takes an absolute beating, even if you're one of those drivers that are so good at tire management. Just, when you're coming into 3, as we mentioned earlier, 3 corners versus, you have 3 corner entries here versus the 2 that you normally would have. Yeah, it just eats up that right front. I would be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 tire stops here at some point in this race, but certainly I see pits
just
every
gets
time.
off before Burrows. Just beats Burrows off the pit road.
I see Howell here behind John Theodore. Theodore wiggles just a little bit. And Howell and the 58 there, I believe that's Jonathan Schwartz. Those 2 are... I didn't see much in the way of Howell making a mistake. We'll see if it happens here in a second. Oh, and it does. He goes into that outside wall, straight down
turn
to the
2.
inside wall, and just destroys that entire front bumper. Great job by the other guys on the track, able to avoid him there. He instantly toes and looks like he has left the race. So that is the end of Kean Riley Howell's night. As you guys said, Eric Wolf able to race himself off of pit road in first position. Good job on his part. Like I said, last time we came to Pocono, we had this weird anomaly happen, right? We had this crazy big patch that came to iRacing that day. Some of the guys barely got the game patched before it came out. We had issues with the guys, that new blue cone that they put into iRacing as they were, able to enter onto the track only at a certain point. And for whatever reason, that very first night, Pocono had it set all the way around the first corner, so guys had to stay down.
I was just going to mention that. I was just going to ask if you had already addressed that, but yeah, they've moved it to a much more logical position.
Makes a little bit more sense. So we had a bunch of black flags to clear the last time, and Eric Wolf, actually, we got a pre-race interview with him the last time by. He said that the car was actually a little bit more manageable here than he had experienced earlier in that week, and with all this new talent we have coming into the Dynasty Racing League, it surprises me that Eric Wolf was able to grab that pole position, and he's been able to hold it, throughout this race already tonight. Last time, going back to the things changing, he had a pit stop 23 laps into the last Pocono race. And on lap 23, for whatever reason, everybody comes down pit road after the caution. Eric Wolf takes a 17-second pit stop, got in and out perfectly, but for whatever reason, it lasted 17 seconds, and he actually got passed by 4 drivers. We did not see that happen, and hopefully won't see that happen here tonight. I'm pretty confident, man. Eric Wolf's my pick for the season. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
We just talk about the talent level. And the amazing thing though is like look at those the 1-2 up there, Wolf and Burrows. They those guys. Eric Wolf.
Yeah, definitely showing us what they can do as I bring up the point standings. So you see Anthony Burrows in first with 7 wins already this season. Wade Hustad in second. Jonathan Schwartz third. Chad Presnell fourth. Thomas Harmon in fifth. Mark Johnson in sixth right now in the points. And then you see Eric Wolf there in ninth. The only reason Eric Wolf is in the ninth position is because he just hasn't been able to attend that many races tonight. As we take
the participation
again. And he gets another quick jump here.
Yeah, he does. That's a big jump. Yeah, that's that participation. He doesn't get the win and in because he won't be able to get that 80% mark. But points-wise, he is pretty secure in his playoff spot in any case.
Yeah, you saw all those other guys there in the yellow color. They currently have enough participation, and they've won a race. So they are all currently locked into the championships, or the chase for the cup. Or the
and Eric Wolf and David
race
Wright,
for the
when
chase. That's what I'm trying to say.
If they make it in... Yeah, if they make it in on points, they will still get the bonus points for the win, so they'll get those 3 bonus points for their 1 win, but they have to get in on points, and Wolf is pretty secure. David Wright's on, further down there, but as long as he keeps showing up, I think he should be okay as well.
Interesting racing going on back here by Theodore. Harmon gets around him. Typically that lower line is preferred here, Martin. Theodore doesn't look like he's handling it too well.
Yeah, he's right around Andrew Scheimer.
Yeah, he's there in the Corey Bush Ford that we've seen him racing for quite some time now. He's another caution.
Back, looks like David Wellborn. Looks to be David Wellborn going into turn 1. He's got the 040 today. Just didn't get the number set for him, but
yeah, problem with the numbers there. But him and the 75 there, Bill Edwards, definitely got collected a little bit. Let's go back and watch that replay as Wellborn pulls off the track and also toes. He might be done for this evening.
Oh, and well, let me see. Where is it? There we go.
What happened to these guys?
It looks like Wellborn just went in too hot, and then he came down into Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson turns him, comes up, catches Edwards, and then catches the other S2R team member back there, Salvatore De Gennaro. So the 75 and the 36 both caught in that, despite having nothing to do with it.
No, to be fair,
Mark
I don't
Johnson
know what...
gets away pretty much scot-free.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't know what Spotter was saying at that time. If we go back and look at that one more time here, I don't know what the spotter was saying to him, but you can see that the 98 of Mark Johnson tries to dive him on the inside. He knows that he's 3 wide here going down this front straightaway. It seems like he's getting into the break more than enough to drop back behind David Wellborn, and then Wellborn kind of just dives it down. So maybe he thought that he had Johnson cleared there. Maybe the spotter didn't say that he was still inside. Unfortunate, the 75 and the 36 there both get collected.
Johnson definitely looked like...
They like to race from the
Johnson
back
definitely
to the
looked like he was backing off there. Yeah, he was
did.
backing off to get into the turn so he wouldn't get into make that 3 wide crazy. And Wellborn kind of overshot it and kept fighting for that position, and then kind of took it down and ended up going across the nose of the 98. And unfortunately collects the 36 and the 75, Bill Edwards and Salvatore De Gennaro.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. I don't know how he's going to feel about this. Because of the early technical issues, I'm going to pull Eric Wolf in here and get a quick interview with him, congratulate him on his pole position, and wish him luck tonight. But hopefully he won't be too upset with me after this one. Hey, Eric Wolf, you got a copy, sir?
Yeah, I do. Go ahead.
Hey, man, I'm sorry to pull you in mid-race here. I would have liked to get an interview. Had a little technical issues at the beginning here. 9th pole position this season, man. Your only win has come here at Pocono. How are you feeling tonight?
I feel pretty good. I'm hoping we get straightened out here, get some green run, then see what we really have. But yeah, long run pace feels good, and I feel all right over the short run. Pretty comfortable here at Pocono.
Yeah, I know you were comfortable earlier in the season, and nothing but a bad pit stop kept you from bleeding every lap of that race, man. So we wish you the best of luck tonight. And keep going out there and doing what you do, man. You're the best at when it comes to driving that car as hard as you possibly can.
Yeah, thanks a lot, man.
Good luck tonight.
Yeah, it's a murderer's row up there. What? Something's going on with David Wright.
Eric Wolf is supposed to be in DPR, right?
Correct.
All right. Just making sure.
Yeah, something's going on. David Wright's coming over the radio and saying he was his pit box, the wrong pit box or something. So I don't know what was going on there. I'm trying to look back and see what the issue is.
Right.
Yeah, he pulled into a spot that wasn't even his pit box. Or, yeah, I mean, if you look on the replay, you have Matt Kleinschmidt's orange and white pit box right there, and then there's nothing next to it. And David Wright is parked right behind him. David Wright's pit box is before the little victory lane thing there.
Yeah,
and he actually pulled in behind the 59. So I don't know if the pit box is in the wrong place and he was in the right place, according to iRacing, or there was something going on. That's kind of interesting because that's completely in the wrong box.
It's funny because Ryan Branch did just bring up a point where we were talking about a fluke on pit road that cost Eric Wolf a victory, and then as not just a few minutes later, we have a situation that happens again on pit road here at Pocono.
Well, I'm looking now at the 44, the back of him. You can see him. He's in the pit box. He gets the lift. He gets the regular.
Okay,
pit
so it's
there,
happening.
But there's no. It looked like David Wellborn was in his pit box, and
really.
Yeah, and he got a pit by not having a crew or a toolbox or anything.
I see. Oh, Wellborn to me looks like he's in the right box.
Maybe
but
I
then
just
David Wright's box.
There.
No, David Wright's box is actually before the little victory lane area there, like that little stage thing. So you have Matt Kleinschmidt's box, and then there's like 3 or 4 open boxes, and then there David Wright's is way back there, separated from everyone else's by a whole bunch.
Yeah, it looks like maybe just the graphic of his toolbox and the actual.
Yeah, his graphic of his toolbox is in place.
Back for some reason. That's definitely strange.
So I wonder if the sign was also in the wrong place too, or not. Because yeah, he did get the pit stop, but he was coming over saying, "Hey, my pit crew's in the wrong place." So
is what it is. At least he pulled in correctly. Somebody must have been telling him where to pit there. So.
Yeah, maybe he has sim racing going. Sim racing told him to go there.
Oh, it must.
Yeah,
have,
I wonder because if the signs, I mean,
that's what happened.
If that little sign is in the wrong place, you're gonna go where the sign is. But if sim racing's telling you to go somewhere else, so that might have been what it is. Is maybe the sign's in the wrong place. So he was thinking, okay, I have to pull in now, and sim racing's telling me not to. Why is it telling me to pull up here where I don't have a pit box? But the crew somehow changed his tires and gave him gas. So.
Well, Getty Buckner, I don't want to keep you around longer than you want to be around this evening, sir. Do you want to stick with us for the rest of the race, or?
Whatever you guys need. I can certainly pop in from time to time, or just let you two take care of business.
It's completely up to you.
Stick around. It looks like our race control might be getting dumped at any point, so one of us might have to back out and do some race control. So we'll have 3 up here in the booth until we'll see what happens to Tater. Tater's got some big storms rolling through his area. You know how that goes with electricity and internet.
Pace car comes down pit road, and Eric Wolf praying for that long green flag run here. Feels like he can really take this one to the house. You see Held still hanging around up there just behind Anthony Burrows there in the 62. Again, he did really well last time. We just see a few minor mistakes here and there, and a minor mistake can cost you big at Pocono.
Yeah, Wade Hustad gets past Jonathan Schwartz going into turn 2 and moving to 4th.
Yeah, we talk about how difficult it is to pass here at Pocono. Definitely when you're low speed, trying to get that first lap under your belt, get the car up to that 200-mile-per-hour zone at the end of these straights. That's the time to do it.
Yeah, now Thomas Harmon's looking on the inside, going through turn 3 now he's on the front stretch, side by side. Spencer Tart right on his bumper. They're going to be trying to get past Schwartz going in turn 1 here.
Yeah, Spencer there in that beautiful blue and yellow Pop-Tarts car. I love that thing, man. The fact that somebody can take an actual sponsor of a race car and kind of use a little play on words off of their last name is pretty sick. I don't know. Jonathan Schwartz seems to be having some issues here.
Yeah, he's slow.
Giving up 2 positions already since that last restart. Spencer Tart's nipping at his heels.
Well, for Jonathan Schwartz, he uncharacteristically actually qualified outside the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe this setup here he doesn't maybe have a grip on yet.
Yeah,
wow, and look at that. He's just holding up. He's holding up traffic, too. I mean, Stouffer and Springer. Springer just sucked up really quick into them. And so now you got that group of 4 cars there. Tart's going to get by in turn 1 probably. Then it's going to be Stouffer and Springer battling to go past him next.
Mike Springer, that beautiful cereal car. He had multiple cereals. He's got Lucky Charms and Reese's and all of that.
General Mills, I would think, right? I think that's General Mills.
Yeah,
Lucky
definitely.
Charms. And,
well, that's the thing, is that Jonathan Schwartz, if you guys remember from last Pocono race, it was this setup. Granted, it was the first week of this setup, and things might have changed a little bit since then, but Jonathan Schwartz got moved all the way to the back after a silly black flag. He sped on pit road. He had the black flag taken
Chris
away.
Stouffer and Steven Sims go through turn 2 sideways, and Sims is still trying to correct it. Sorry to interrupt, but that was a little... Sims is going to be losing a ton of positions. He went side. Both him and Stouffer went kind of dirt tracking it through turn 2, and Stouffer was able to correct quicker, and Sims is going to fall all the way back from 10th place to... where is he going to be at now?
17th?
Yeah, that was 7 positions.
17th,
there.
so he loses 7 positions.
Not an
Tater
ideal
Bowman just came
situation.
over, and race control just reminded him, this is not Eldora. That's not how you drive. We're not dirt tracking it today. So
Nice of Tater there to just let him know he isn't on a dirt track. But as I was saying earlier, Jonathan Schwartz, he had that issue. He had a black flag given to him for speeding on pit road. Then a bunch of guys had black flags cleared. He's one that requested it. But then it became known that he actually, his black flag was legitimate during that last Pocono race. So he ended up all the way in the back of the field, and he raced himself back to the front before what I think it was, who did we talk about earlier, Getty? What was his name? The guy who came in second.
Oh, Eli Hinton.
Yeah, Eli Hinton spun him out with, I think, like 6 laps to go at the end of the last
it was pretty
Pocono
late in that race.
Jonathan Schwartz had come all the way back from the rear of the field after that black flag, and then kind of got screwed there at the end, but doesn't look nearly as comfortable this evening as he did just a few short weeks ago.
yeah, well, that Chris Stouffer going through turn 2 kind of sideways there, that gave Schwartz a little bit of a reprieve from getting past, but Tart's right on his heels, and Tart even going through turn 2 kind of slow. And then Mike Springer sucking up on him and being able to gain speed. So there's a little battle here for 6th, 7th, and 8th between those guys.
Yeah, for the 13th position and 12th as well. It seems like this group has been side by side almost the entire race. Jeffrey Meyer, Eric Johnson, battling it out.
Yeah, Theodore's found himself all the way back in the 15th position now there in the Corey Bush Ford in the 89. The 21 of Eric Johnson, not looking super comfortable. You know, early in the season this year, Eric Johnson looked like one of those guys who was going to come out here and compete for wins week in and week out. As level has improved here, I don't know, he doesn't seem to race as well in traffic as you might expect out of him.
Well,
I think what's happening to him is he keeps getting caught in traffic. He's definitely getting caught in traffic. He gets stuck behind. He was behind Scheimer for a while there, and then he got stuck behind Meyer. What happens is you kind of get behind him, and you have to let off, but then suddenly a train goes by you on the outside. So he's kind of swerving around, trying to find a line where he can get past Meyer and keep maintaining his speed, because you come up on a guy going slower than you have to slow down. But the guy behind you, he just moves on to the next lane and swoops by and takes your position. And
yeah, he is past the 50
kind
there
of
of Jeffrey Meyer at this point, coming up on the 82 of Chris James. So, you know, I feel like he's a very, very quick driver. Maybe just doesn't have the confidence to fight around these guys like he needs to.
Well, it's him and Springer. I mean, him and Springer are right there. They are, I believe, points-wise, they are 3rd and 4th in points. But once you add the winners ahead of them, they drop back. But those guys are your top non-winners in points, and they've been hanging there in 3rd and 4th, you know, no problem. And it's just a matter of time. I mean, I think before one of these guys gets a win and locks himself into the playoffs and gets some more bonus points.
Yeah, I can't wait till we go back.
That's what's going to come down to
Watkins Glen, man. Mike Springer, I know he's going to be good there. We saw him before. He's a very good driver at Watkins Glen. I can't wait to see how he does. So maybe that's his opportunity to get that elusive win.
It looks like Spencer Tart has finally made it to at least alongside of Jonathan Schwartz as they dive into turn 1 here.
Yeah, he's going to get that one now. He's move into 6th place.
He does claim that position. We'll see if Schwartz can dive back to the inside of him, but it looks like the 29.
Schwartz coming out, though. He's going to take it right back. Yeah.
Yeah, the 29 there as Tart got a little bit too close to the wall, had to let off.
That's going to let Springer come by.
Yeah, just as you were talking about earlier, Martin, that train effect, man. We talked about it last time we were at Pocono. The exit of these corners is so important that if you don't get it right, these guys are going past you, and they're going past you fast. There's nothing you can do to stop them. The gear ratio is so high on these cars at this track. You know, it's almost got a gear ratio kind of like Talladega or one of your restrictor plate tracks does. I mean, there's no other way to get up to that 205, 206 miles per hour like they do on this front straight.
And we actually have a battle for second heating up, and you know, both of these drivers, Joseph Held and Anthony Burrows, have stayed within earshot, I guess you would say, of Eric Wolf, who in that first green flag run actually checked out to a lead that was over a second. This time, not so much.
Yeah, Wolf did that last time by at Pocono. You know, earlier in the season, had I think 2.5 second lead before that initial caution came out, and then was able to fight back from 5th all the way to 1st to take the victory. So, surprising he hasn't been able to run away with this one. I know Burrows was nipping at his heels, you know, just a few short laps ago, and now we have help passing Burrows. So, a couple mistakes by Anthony Burrows. Again, it doesn't take much. I mean, these corners are so technical that it's so easy to mess something up. We are going to take a quick break here, guys, at the Dynasty Racing. They're 26 laps in out of 80 here at the Pennsylvania 200 at Pocono Raceway. It's been a great race so far. A couple of early cautions, but it's been green for quite some time now. We'll be back in just a few minutes. And hopefully we'll be taking some green flag pit stops here in about 10 to 15 laps. See you in a few. You guys see now we are back after that quick commercial break, riding along here with the number 87 of Mike Lemon. He did have an issue. Everything tightens up here. You see the 92, the 98, the 50. Everybody hitting the brakes there, getting a little
Yeah, I
bit
think
shaky.
what happened was looks like 98 makes it 3 wide, and Christopher backs out, and that kind of causes Mike Lemon to have to make his turn a little sharper, and that gets him right into that inside wall and hard hit on the inside wall.
Now, this is certainly a track where you don't want to be going 3 wide at too very often, especially lap 30 of 80. Certainly, that's my opinion, though.
Yeah, I mean, going 2 wide's never good on a track like this, Getty, but at the same time, if it feels that easy, I mean, the 87 let off significantly, and the 98 let off significantly to stay out of the 2 cars in front of them, so, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, no, I suppose.
Yeah, the 87 just gets a little bit too close there to Chris Stouffer and dives himself right down to that inside wall. That's what we talk about. I mean, you get 20 laps on the tires of these cars. They weren't even 20 laps in. What was it? 19, 18, 17, something like that. And the back end of the car just gets away from you. And that's what is so impressive with Eric Wolf is that guy, you know, I think I not to beat a dead horse, but I believe I said it 1,000 times during the last Pocono race. He's so good at driving the car right on the edge of disaster.
Yeah, no, and that's one of the reasons why you see him succeed at some of these difficult tracks like Pocono and Sonoma. It's some people. It's just in some people's wheelhouse.
Yeah,
he easily gets that lead off coming off a pit road too.
Yeah, nice quick pit stop for him, a 14.52. Joseph Helt with a 21.8 second pit stop. Again, just like he did last time at Pocono, Helt having an awesome race and then manages to mess it up for himself. So hopefully he's able to gather it back up and get himself back into a position to compete here. But
extended pit stop for Jonathan Schwartz as well. Perhaps he had some damage to fix. He will actually start on the tail end of the lead lap here, which consists of 26 drivers.
Yeah, Schwartz all the way back in 26. It looks like Mike Lemon is staying in his pit stall. And then, of course, you guys saw earlier in the evening, Kean Riley Howell had that unfortunate event happen to him early in the race. He's completely out now, 32 laps down. And then you had David Wellborn Jr. getting himself into a sticky situation there with Kean. And Bill Edwards and Salvatore De Janeiro caught the tail end of that and kind of got put out of the race, unfortunately, as well. So Mike Lemon, sad to see him go, but it is what it is. I mean, he can only hold on to the car for so long. There's a car outside you. He was trying to get back into the gas, and that straightaway is so important. That's why he was hitting the gas as early as he was. We talked about it just a little while ago. If you don't get the speed out of the corner, you're not going to be able to get down that straight in enough time, and a train's just going to get ran right around you. Martin and Getty, I'm going to let you guys take us to the green flag here. I will be back in just a second. Thank you to all of our viewers, everybody at home, for tuning in tonight and watching the DRL Molnar Automotive Cup Series. It's a pleasure to have you here on DRL TV. My first week back, Martin and Getty, it's a pleasure to be back. I know I tuned in, I think, what was it, last Wednesday or Wednesday before last for a truck series race, but I am back full-time with the Dynasty Racing League, and I'm looking forward to bringing this race to our viewers every Tuesday night.
No, absolutely. It's great to have you back. Just a reminder to anybody that is watching the YouTube stream currently, if there's a driver that you follow specifically or just enjoy the 10-plus hours of live racing coverage that the Dynasty Racing League broadcasts on DRL TV, just remember to hit the subscription button there, and you'll be notified on whatever device that you use when we go live, which is, again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and this week also Thursday for our Indy Series. Jonathan Schwartz is in pit road again here. Very interesting to see what is going on with his vehicle, whether he is just trying to perhaps make sure that he has enough gas to the end. Martin, do you think that is what he's doing here, topping off on fuel?
Yeah, probably. Let's get it all. Make sure you have enough fuel, and then you don't have to worry about that.
I'm curious if this means that he is able to make it to the end now.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of that, like end of race fuel issues. Usually because we don't have, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it's a big issue.
It doesn't seem like we ever really enter an opportunity where there's a fuel mileage race. Pocono certainly is it's the type of racetrack that does seem susceptible to those fuel type mileage races that we see like in real life stock car racing. Maybe today, lap 32 of 80 here, just as we're about ready to approach halfway, it's certainly possible that these 26 drivers that are on the lead lap decide to play nice, and we get that green flag run that runs to the end. And if so, fuel mileage certainly will come into play.
Yeah, definitely. If we have a green flag run the rest of the way, I don't think you're going to split this thing in half. You're just going to try to make it that 50 laps, but it's going to be really close if you just took fuel.
Mm-hmm. As expected, Eric Wolf gets that benefit of being able to kind of start whenever he wants.
Whoa, Jeffrey. Who is that? Is that Jeffrey Meyer in back? I have to go in back. He just kind of slid. Took a really weird, maybe that's Alexander Russell back there. He took a really weird route to get to the turn one. Dove down really early on the front stretch. But maybe that's just to avoid it going 3 wide and everything.
Yeah, no, I saw that too there on the restart in the back of the pack. Here on the front, though, Thomas Harmon, kind of a newer addition here to the top 5. Good to see him because with Schwartz and Joseph Held having issues there in pit road, that gives people like Harmon and Springer an opportunity to see what they can do in the top 5. Chad Presnall, who's in 6th, he started at the rear of the field, if I'm not mistaken, and so he's been able to carve his way through. As he's battling with Spencer Tart, he's been able to carve this way through just about this whole field. And Martin, as we've seen in previous races, that Chad Presnall, he just kind of tends to do that. He kind of starts. He doesn't mind starting in the back, and he certainly doesn't mind making the passes that he needs to make in traffic.
Well, I've noticed we've mentioned Mark Johnson a little bit today. He's making a move on Jonathan Schwartz right now. Schwartz all the way back in 22nd. Joseph Helt in 20th. And then you have Mark Johnson, who's been back there all day. And you're starting to get to that tricky point where you do have some of these faster drivers. And I don't know about Mark Johnson. He didn't qualify that well. And maybe he just struggles at this track. But he is a faster driver. And so is that going to cause issues as we get later in the race and some of these back-of-the-pack guys have to contend with a guy trying to pass them significantly faster than them?
No, absolutely. Because, again, we just saw Joseph Held, who's up at second. He was as far as second place just maybe, 15, 20 laps ago. Mm-hmm. And because of a bad pit stop, he's now having to pass all these cars. And we'll see if, if that does create a situation where, there's 2 or 3 wide that are unnecessary, maybe some of these guys, making some of these guys uncomfortable here.
Yeah, I think you have to be patient. You have to be patient, but you have to also get those positions. Otherwise, the race will be over before you get back to where you want to be.
Anthony Burrows challenging Eric Wolf here as they head into turn 1. Eric Wolf hasn't really had... Oh! Sideways,
Whoa,
Eric Wolf.
What?
Wait, Hustad is going to pass them both and get the lead here.
Yeah, Burrows got into his left quarter panel. That's a beautiful save by Eric Wolf. But, yeah, it's going to...
Boys, I hate to interrupt here, but that was the most ridiculous save I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Eric Wolf completely sideways in that car, able to correct. Only lets 3 drivers by him. We said how much these straightaway speeds can absolutely kill a lap. And for these guys to still be running 4th and 5th right now is mind-blowing.
Yeah. I just, like, I jumped to Eric Wolf, moved the camera to Eric Wolf, and as I jumped to it, it's like he just kind of, his car went sideways and snapped back, and it was like, whoa, what, was that a glitch? Was this graphical? It's like, nope, he got turned sideways and snapped it right back in the line and kept going. So Harmon and Springer are going to move into 2nd and 3rd with Hustad now as the leader.
Yeah, very rare mistake there we see. I mean, I don't know whose mistake or whose fault that was, you know what I mean? Obviously, a lot of times we like to call it the rear guy's fault. You know, Anthony Burroughs got into Eric Wolf, but you never know. I mean, these guys are going so fast around that corner and trying to hold that car right on the edge of its capabilities. And, you know, maybe Anthony didn't think Eric was going to let off as much as he did. He got back into the gas 1 second early, and now we got Mike Springer going around the 68 there of Thomas Harmon. So Wolf and Burroughs right back in it, but their tires did take a significant amount of wear, you know, going sideways like that. I don't know if Anthony Burroughs has any aero damage, but Eric Wolf's tires have to be hurting him at this point. I mean, they're only 8 laps in, and that probably adds, what, 3 to 4 laps at least worth of tire wear?
The worst part is the heat that adds trying to save, you know, because again, with the heat, you still have 2 more corner entries that you have to deal with those hot tires, and that's where that wear starts to really exponentially.
Oh, there's the yellow flag.
Wait a second, Gil. You trying to tell me that tires aren't supposed to go sideways?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a theory. Mark Johnson.
Right back there, I was watching Joseph Helt and Schwartz get past these guys, and Mark Johnson did the same thing Joseph Helt did, except he hit that wall a little bit too hard and slides and bangs the inside wall. Coming out of 2 again, or was that 1? That was lap 1, turn 1.
Go back here and look at the 98. We see him there in the pit box now. We're going to do an instant replay here and see if we can see exactly what happened to the 98. Does okay here coming down the front stretch. Mark Johnson. Going to ride along board with him. See him there almost up to 8,400 RPMs. Dives it down in that corner just perfect. You see him running behind the 82 there of Chris James. And same thing. He overcorrected just a hair as the back end of that car got loose. And that's the thing, man. These guys fight that little bit of looseness at the end of every single corner. And they do it lap in and lap out. And they make that little bit of a correction. And the one time it goes wrong, that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, these cars are already a handful to control anyway, of course. But yeah, when you're trying to deal with getting that extra little benefit as you go down those straightaways and pushing a little bit harder on the exit, certainly you're more susceptible to mistakes. And we've seen it a couple times here, and you know, that can cost you the race. And with all the speed that these guys carry, one little mistake, one little spin, or one miscalculation can cost you a lot of damage, as we've seen with Kean Riley Howell, just making one little mistake and end up costing him the race because his race car got destroyed.
Not just himself, but that was what, 4 guys who got taken out with that little mishap. So I'm gonna go down here and see if we can get a good camera view as these guys enter all into pit road. They're coming down here. We'll see how fast everybody can get in and out of the box. See if maybe Eric Wolf or Anthony Burroughs can improve a position or 2 here on this pit stop.
Yeah, well, with the amount of time between pit stops here, you might see a couple guys take 2 tires. It might be a little too early to take that gamble, but certainly a possibility because obviously the right sides here take way more brunt of the wear than the left sides do.
Yeah, almost everybody looks like they got a nice slide into their pit box there. Not the best camera angle here, but you see Wade Hustad off first. Mike Springer barely gets beat off the pit road. Anthony Burroughs comes away in 3rd, and Eric Wolf comes away in 4th. So they did make up a position apiece. I don't know who that was that ended up getting dropped back.
Harmon.
Yeah, I don't know if he got some repairs. Harmon comes off in 10th position, so... terrible pit stop there by Thomas Harmon. I don't know if it was just the pits. Actually, let's go back and see if we can get a See if we can get a look here at Thomas Harmon. We're going to watch this pit stop one more time. We know the other guy's got a good pit here. See if he just takes some extra time here, if he misses the pit box a little bit. Thomas Harmon looks like he was in pretty quick. We'll see what happens on his exit. Right side of the car go up, left side of the car goes up. Pit crew looks like it's a little bit slower than Mike Springer. And yeah, Harmon just sticks around for a few seconds after that pit stop, and he must either got some repairs, or that's the same thing that happened to Eric Wolf, one of the two. You know, Eric Wolf on the last Pocono race that we had, where it just made him take a little extra time on pit road.
Looking here at the lineup, though, again, while you were gone, Ryan, we spoke about Chad Presnell carving his way through the whole field here up at 7th. John Theodore, he qualified well, kind of fell back there. He was in that 18th, 16th spot there for a while. He has now rebounded nicely. And Andrew Schmeier, I guess is how you want to enunciate that. You know, just a big shout out to him. I believe this is probably his first race here. And hold on to a top 10 here at a very difficult track.
Yeah, I had a little bit of an issue pronouncing his name earlier. Hopefully we can get that right after this race and find out how it's supposed to be pronounced. But yeah, I had focused here on the driver info of Chad Presnell while you guys were speaking about it earlier. He has moved up from 28th to 7th. Was as high as 5th earlier in this race, but Chad Presnell doing an amazing job there in the 55. Teammate of the 32 of Wade Hustad. He's racing the wheels off that car out there tonight, guys.
Yeah, well, we'll see what Wade can do with clean air. Obviously, he has Eric Wolf and Anthony Burrows behind him, and he didn't pass those two. He, you know, it kind of took.
Well, he did, just not easily, not under his own power.
Yeah, he took advantage of an opportunity that was handed to him, and we'll see what he can do with it. And Spencer Tart back in the top 5. Good to see, you know, that top 5 kind of rebound. It looks like, you know, like with Theodore and Presnell just knocking on the outside. And then one other thing I'm looking at is Joseph Hell, Jonathan Schwartz, as they are trying to carve their way back up to the front after, you know, abysmal pit stops earlier.
Yeah, Joseph Held is the only disappointment for me here tonight. Again, he had a great race last time we were here at Pocono. He had a great first, I can't say half because we're just now halfway through, but a great first quarter of the race here tonight, and he's letting it get away from him again. Hopefully he can get it back. He's moved back up to 13th after that last restart. He was towards the rear of the field, so we'll see if he can continue to improve a few positions at a time. You see him just a few cars there behind the 68 of Harmon, who had that ugly pit stop last time by. So pit's definitely having a big effect on tonight's race.
Yeah, and we saw that at New Hampshire. That was another, you know, defining moment. A lot of, you know, and that ended up being just an incredible race. But with one to go here, guys, it's possible. I'll just hand the mic over to you two gentlemen, get the old duo back together there, and I may just take my leave here, at least temporarily.
You have a wonderful night, Getty. Thank you for joining us in the booth. Getty Buckner, a staple here at the Dynasty Racing League. Thanks for all you do, Getty, and have a great night, man.
No, absolutely, and just again, thanks to all the viewers here on YouTube. You know, subscribe if you like, you know, your favorite driver or the action that we offer here. And Ryan Martin, bid you farewell. Have a good one.
See you, man. Well, Martin, it looks like we're going to take the green flag here again in about, well, I'd say a third of a lap, I guess, since we have, you know, 3 straightaways here at Pocono. How do you feel about Hustad out there in front? I feel like with some clean air, he might be able to do some work.
I can't remember how he did last time, but I feel we just see it. We always see him in front, it seems. So it's a guy, he gets the clean air. He definitely likes being in the lead.
Hustad's done really well. I mean, you guys see him here in the point standings. 3 wins under his belt. Has those 9 bonus points. He does have enough race participation. He is a rookie here with the Dynasty Racing League, but so is his teammate there in Chad Presnell, who sits in 4th in the point standings. So I feel like he's just one of those guys where if he's allowed to operate by himself, he's dominant. And the reason we see Anthony Burrows win as many races as he does here is because he doesn't have to be all alone out in the front in order to dominate like he does. Yes, he has some poles, but he doesn't have to be in clean air. And some of these guys just do so much better with that clean air in front of them, and I feel like Wade Hustad is one of them.
Well, and back on the on the straight there, Schwartz was right on Helt's bumper and is now slipped to the inside. He's going to be trying to get past him here in turn 1.
Oh, and we have a caution already. What was that? I heard. Okay, there it is. The number 59 of Matt Kleinschmidt. I see a little bit. We're gonna rewind that.
Yeah,
just a
Matthew
hair.
George. Matthew George is sitting. Well, it looks like Chris Stouffer got into Matthew George. Yeah, so Stouffer got taken out and Kleinschmidt kind of warped into that. So
Kleinschmidt goes way low. Kleinschmidt goes way down low right on that restart. The 07 of Stouffer gets down onto the inside of the 30. It looks like he just drives right up into the 30. Maybe Chris Stouffer hit the brakes a little too late. I don't know. Let's watch that
there was that, and then
more
I don't know why Kleinschmidt went up that way. It looked like he was trying to go. He was going to go low, and then he just drove straight up. Maybe he was trying to guess. He was thinking that George and Stouffer are going to slide down the track. And
I mean, definitely a slow start by the 30 of Matthew George there, but it didn't occur until the corner. I mean, Jeffrey Meyer on the bumper of the 07. I think Stouffer just felt pressure. He felt pressure from the 50, and he overdrove that corner.
Yep. That's a disappointing end to the race for Chris Stouffer. He struggled. He had that big slide through the tunnel turn earlier in the race that cost him a few positions.
Go back and watch one more time from Chris Stouffer's point of view in the cockpit here. I feel like he just felt pressure. You know, he had to have felt pressure
he just
from
overdrove
Jeffrey Meyer of the 50 behind him, and he just drove into that corner way too strong. We'd see these guys.
Because you don't know if that guy, you don't know that guy's gonna ease up behind you, and then you feel. Yeah, he just didn't turn. He just didn't slow up as quick enough.
We're going to watch it here from the beginning, Martin. He gets into the gas perfect. He sees everybody taking off. Matthew George slows up in front of him, so he lets off to stay behind the 30 here. And we can't see Chris Stouffer's rear view mirror, but he had to feel some sort of pressure here as he just drives straight into this corner. It takes him way too long to start making that entrance down towards that apex, and the 30 started to make his turn, you know, as he should. So it had
I'm not sure what I'm watching Kleinschmidt, and I'm just trying to figure out what he was doing. It's like it looks like he wanted to let a few guys by, so that's why he went low on the front. And then he comes in a turn and goes up high, and then he just stays high. He sees those guys wrecking. You know what he might have thought? He might have thought those guys were going to come down. It looked like they were kind of sliding that way, and then suddenly they just kind of turned and stayed right in that high line. So he kind of had almost an Eric Amarola at Kansas kind of situation where it's like he had already picked the line, and then he realized probably
Kleinschmidt's point of view here again.
Yeah, he had about 3 or 4 seconds before he hit them, but it was like by then he couldn't really do much. He would have been sideways hitting them. One way or the other, he's going to hit those guys.
He's got to have some sort of damage. I mean, he dove down towards the apron.
Yeah, he was trying to get out of the way right away, so I don't know what that was.
He goes up towards the top of the track. You know, he might have just had some suspension issues. It looked like he couldn't even turn the car to the left. Joseph Helt comes back into the pit stall. He gets himself another, what do we have? Joseph Helt took another 30-second pit stop there, so that's why we see Helt fall as far back as he did. He has needed some repairs, but able to stay on the lead lap.
Haven't seen him really get in anything.
It might be the occasional wall here and there. You do see him trying to catch up to the field here in the O2, but I mean, twice, Martin. Twice in one season. It's got to hurt, man. I would love to get into his mind a little bit at the end of this race and see how Helt feels about it. But, you know, both races at Pocono, he comes out, he qualifies really well. He finds himself in the back of the pack and unable to recover. So, obviously, we still have 34 laps, 35 laps here left tonight. We'll see if he's able to pull it out. But things
sounds like
too good for Helt.
Yeah. Well, we're getting reports. Chris Stouffer, he had a mechanical issue. Wheel went out, and that's what caused him not really kind of turn into turn one. He just kind of plowed right into Matthew George. I mean, it looked kind of, you know, both that and just didn't get on the brakes at all.
Well, and maybe he was ready to hit the brakes and start turning, or you know, maybe the car.
And then suddenly the wheel didn't turn, and so now he kind of gets distracted. Yeah, that's definitely it too.
unfortunate situation there for the 07 of Chris Stouffer. You know, last time he came here to Pocono, it was his first race back to the DRL in quite some time. So for him to come back for the first race here with the league and perform better than, you know, well, I say better, but he came in a better position than he has so far tonight. That sucks for Chris Stouffer.
Yeah, well, and it's, you know, it's that tough luck that happens for a guy like Matthew George and Matt Kleinschmidt. You just get caught up in someone having a mechanical issue, and you know, that's not a. We talk about these kind of, you know, I say it's a mechanical issue because in real life you have these kind of things happen. Brakes go out, steering wheel doesn't respond, whatever it is. Power,
tire catches a piece of debris and suddenly blows. You know,
tire blow.
How many times this season have we seen Joey Logano drive into somebody in a corner because his right front tire just blows on him, you know?
Well, it's like, and we don't have, it's not built into the simulation itself, so we're not going to have blown tires. I don't think we have blown tires. Maybe if you drive the tires until they go down to, you know, 1%, maybe it blows out. I don't know.
I don't know if I've seen 0% on tires yet here in iRacing.
Yeah, I don't think it's part of a simulation. I think they avoid doing that because that randomness would just be really irritating. You're driving along and suddenly your tire blows out, and be like, really? You already got enough craziness going on in an iRacing race with you know, because these guys are not professionals. So,
well, you know, Martin, on one hand, you say it'd be really irritating, but at the same time, you got to wonder, like, these guys who come out here every week, we see it in the boxing ring week in and week out. There's issues, you know. Guys have a problem with another guy on the track here and there, especially guys who tend to race around each other. I don't know who it was I spoke about during that Truck Series race. Jeffrey Meyer and I'm trying to remember who it is that he races around very closely. Myself and Spencer Tart last week at Eldora in that Truck Series. You know, we had some issues back and forth with one another, just racing real hard. And
season's definitely heating up as we get closer to the playoffs.
Fighting with one another, and then also having your tire blow randomly, like. I don't know if the internet community could handle that in general.
No. Well, that's what I mean. It's like you already have those the big personality. You know, and granted, in real life you have that, but in real life you can't control the concept, the idea of having blown up, you know, tires blowing out and stuff. That's just real life. But I mean, you know, and then we've been experiencing that in DRL. We've had, you know, we get the personalities clashing, people getting upset about what happens in the race, you know, oh, you're blocking, or you know, why aren't you letting me have this position, or you know, and that comes with racing. I think that's just part of the fabric of it, and as long as we can keep it,
it does come
to a
with
level
racing,
of civility. Yeah, to a level of civility where everyone can kind of go, okay, let's take it to the track next week, and I'm going to beat you next week, or whatever it is. And
we're going to go back green here. Wade Hustad chooses to wait. It looked like the 12 there. Springer tried to get a jump on
everything up. That clumps everything up, and there goes Steven Sims, freaks out. He's going to bump out Schwartz. Alexander Russell gets caught up, but no yellow flag. Everyone kind of shakes
everybody
it out,
able to figure it out there.
Start.
But, you know, and it wasn't Hustad's fault. It was Springer's fault. Springer tried to get that early jump, and everybody followed him, of course, but Hustad is the one who gets to choose when that start occurs. So he was a little bit patient, and now he's gonna, you know, Mike Springer's gonna pay for it as Anthony Burrows and the 24 of Eric Wolf head to the inside.
Well, that got very dicey up there. It looked like Thomas Harmon was almost going to get spun him, and it looked like he was going to get into Michael Morley. They were 3 wide, and then as I speak of Michael Morley, Musial gets into Dustin Musial gets into Michael Morley coming out of turn 2 and brings out a yellow flag. So a rough start there. We get down the first front stretch, or the first straightaway between 1 and 2, and then coming out of 2, we have trouble again. So we're going to reset the field.
The 06 here, Dustin Musial to the inside. The 06 tries to go to the inside of the 46, and it was just 3 guys a little too close to one another. That was just tough racing. I mean, I had no ill intent there. It looked like, you know, he was trying to make room. You know, Dustin Musial was trying to get to the inside, and Michael Morley just happened to be there. Is what it is.
Now I know you know these turns. You know these turns better. What racetrack is turn 2 based on? Is that Milwaukee?
I'm not 100% sure, to be honest with you.
Okay. I know you had that. Well, last race you had mentioned that. I'll have to look. Let me see. But yeah, it seems like turn 2 is really tricky. It seems like it's the trickiest of the 3 as far as, some guys can get through it really fast, and other guys get through it can really struggle with it. Turn one's dangerous for everyone. You gotta be very cautious. Turn 1. Turn 3 is a little bit probably the easiest turn out of all of them, I think. As far
I think after looking that back a couple times, the 22 there, Dustin Musial was a little bit impatient. The reason turn 2 is as tricky as it is, Martin, is because that's at the end of that second straightaway. That's where they've got a lot of speed, and turn 2 is sharper than the other 2 turns, right? So yes, down that front straight.
My favorite turn.
Yeah, I mean, down the front straight, you're getting up to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 miles per hour faster than you do down that second straightaway. However, that second turn is twice as sharp as the first turn is. That first turn is a big sweeping corner. The second one, you only have so much of a choice. And Musial did the right thing. I mean, he got back into the gas, but there's a car there. I mean, you gotta, Morley was not out of his way. Musial pushed it a little too hard. Morley had to let off for just a millisecond longer, and Musial gets up into him.
Well, and it wasn't, I wouldn't blame Musial either, because Musial's going in. He's battling with Morley. Morley's battling with Musial. They're looking at each other, and then suddenly Schmeier's right there. And he's kind of easing off because the guy in front of him is a little bit slower than him. And everyone, it just kind of bottlenecked, and Musial and Morley are on the innermost part of the turn now and run out of space. And that's how they get into each other, is that there was just a clump of cars right there coming out of the turn that were did not have as much speed as Schmeier, Morley, and Stouffer. And that caused a little bit of a bottleneck, and it's very hard to check up right there. And turn 2's as you said, you have so much speed going there that if you miss your mark, it's really easy to miss your mark going in turn 2 as well, because if you look at that mirror, you see a guy right on your butt going 200 miles per hour, and you're like, oh great, is this guy going to brake at the same point I'm going to brake, or is he going to drive me right into the outer wall?
Well, we see 5 drivers here down on pit road for well, Alexander Russell pulls off 64 seconds. Dustin Musial and Michael Morley just wrecked. We see Matthew George and Steven Sims. Those guys trying to get as much repair time as possible as these really slow caution laps come out here at Pocono. Such a big track. The caution laps take a while.
Yeah, that is the benefit.
It gives the guys a little bit of a chance
to get those repairs done.
A lot of repairs down here. Michael Morley with an 84.75. Matthew George, 86 seconds down there. Steven Sims spends 98 seconds on pit road. And Dustin Musial with a 90-second pit stop. So,
George was involved. Yeah.
Pace speed's nice and slow. Lets him spend some time down there getting those repairs.
It's a long pace line. Well, George was involved in that. So George was involved in the caution before.
Yep.
With Stouffer. And then Russell and Sims were involved in that sloppy restart. They got a little damage there, got bumped around. And then, of course, Morley and Musial.
Yeah, I mean, you say all that goes back to that sloppy restart. Even that bunch up that caused this caution to come out might come back to that restart.
Probably could.
If there's somebody to blame that restart on, in my opinion, it doesn't have to do with the 32 there of Wade Hustad. It's his choice to start that race.
It's got to wait for him to go.
Whoever's on the outside, I mean, Mike Springer there jumped the gun just a little bit, which I get it. I mean, I'm sure it happens in NASCAR races, but to a point, I mean, you got to be able to get out of the gas just as fast as you got into it, because as soon as the nose of your car edges in front of that other guy, you're in a bad situation, and that's where VR comes into play, Martin. If you're playing on one monitor, you don't have the opportunity to see where the nose of your car is compared to the nose of the car.
It's harder to kind of see out of your peripheral vision.
Whereas if Mike Springer there, if he was playing on VR, all he has to do is look to the left, and now he can see, oh crap, I'm edging out the 32 of Wade Hustad, and that's what piled up that entire field. So I don't know if it was Springer, just trying to jump him and get that great restart, but I don't think anybody's able to beat the leader on the restarts here. Yeah.
Well, then you get that issue where and that's the thing that you do when you're the leader too, is you play with that guy on the outside, because that guy, if he revs up his engine and takes off when he thinks you're going to take off, you just wait. He's now going to get a black flag if he passes you. before the line.
And you're going to get the jump.
Or he has to let off. He lets off. As soon as he lets off, boom, you're gunning the gas. You're taking off. You got a big jump because now he's going backwards while you're going forward, basically.
Well, we've already seen how important clean air is here. I mean, Eric Wolf was dominating with that clean air, and once you get moved back a couple positions, it's tough to fight your way back up there to the front. It's not easy to pass here at Pocono, so the clean air is super important for Wade Hustad. We'll see if he's able to hang on here as we get ready to take the green flag next time by.
Wade Hustad, Burrows, Wolf, and Hart. All right. Go through the field as we come to turn 3 and the restart. Wade Hustad, Anthony Burrows, Eric Wolf, Spencer Tart, and then John Theodore up there having a great race. Theodore starting in the 7th position. He's moved up to 5th. Just hanging up out there. But then Chad Presnall doing his thing, starting 28th and all the way up in 7th now. As Hustad gets the jump, kind of a clump of cars in the second or in the outside line. Anthony Burrows, Tart, and Presnall. And Wolf trying to get past Tart. It looks like he'll be able to get that inside line. Looks like Burrows had a little bit of a slow start. But he's closing the gap with Wade Hustad as they enter turn 2. Whoa, Aaron James going through the tunnel turn 2, gets a little sideways. He corrects it, but he's going to lose about 4 or 5 positions. And we have a side-by-side action. Wade Hustad and Anthony Burrows fighting for the lead down the front stretch. Hustad with a slight edge going into the turn. And behind them, Tart and Wolf side by side. Tart's going to go hot into the turn, but he's going to lose the position to Wolf and fall back next to Presnall, as Anthony Burrows now has a nose in front of Wade Hustad. With Hustad edging closer and going into turn 2. Whoa, he kind of slides, dirt tracking it. See the tires going down on the road. The turn, and Wolf is going to pass by Hustad, who went in a little hot there. Spencer Tart's going to get by. He's going to try to make it by in turn 3 here, as Anthony Burrows now in sole possession of the lead. Wade Hustad, a huge mistake going into turn 2. Looked like he wanted to come down in front of Anthony Burrows, realized he was there, and couldn't brake at his usual spot. Spencer Tart going into turn 1 will probably take this position from Hustad and will go into 3rd. Tart taking that middle line, while everyone else seems to be content to go low.
Yeah, Tart definitely taking that middle line there. Completely, you know, to run a different line here at Pocono is kind of unheard of. I mean, everybody tends to run that same path the way around the track. Not easy to pass here, and for Tart to be able to do that is, you know, maybe it's saying something. Maybe he's learned the track a little bit, able to get himself the ability to save some tires. Hopefully,
he doesn't lose anything doing it. It looks like he just kind of goes in, he gains. It looks like he's gaining position over someone, and then he kind of just gives that position right back. He comes out right where he was going into the turn, so he's not gaining or really losing anything by doing it. He's just going on a different line. And that Wade Hustad thing where they were racing down and they went in turn 2, that was a big mistake by Hustad. Almost came down into Burrows, going into that turn. Burrows at the inside and would have turned himself and ruined probably both of their races, and corrected his mistake, but unfortunately that then threw him off his line. He didn't get on the brakes at the right time and went sliding dirt track sideways through that turn, and that cost him the lead and 2 positions.
Well, not the first time we've seen Burrows cheating death here tonight, as he turned Eric Wolf earlier in the race. Almost cost himself the race there. I mean, I know he did the touching of Eric Wolf. Awesome correction by Wolf, but both of those guys still remain first and second. You know, we talked about him already tonight. We got Eric Wolf with now his 9th pole position after this evening, and Anthony Burrows has 7 wins, Martin. Looks like he's well on his way to making it 8.
Yeah, barring a mistake, and we've seen a number of mistakes by these drivers, though. I mean, there's been a mistake by Burrows, you know, either Burrows or Wolf on that one. Depends on, you know, if Wolf changed his line or Burrows just didn't get on the brake. You know, Wade Hustad had a big mistake. The one guy who hasn't had a real big mistake has been Spencer Tart. He's just been kind of hanging around there, you know, between up in that top 10, right now running 4th.
Yeah, I don't even know if you can say top 10. He's been in the top 5 a majority of the night.
Right around there, yeah. I mean,
Spencer Tart really showing it what he's got. He's running here for points in the Cup Series?
Oh, he's trucked, so he's up here, jumped up 2 series. He's racing here, and he's been, top 5, mostly top 5. Yeah, there's probably been 1 or 2, you know, a couple of sections of the race where he's been maybe 6th or 7th, but he's been right up there. That beautiful Pop-Tarts car the whole race.
Really showing these Cup drivers what he's got. This must just be one of the favorite racetracks of Spencer Tart here tonight, and I'm not looking forward to racing against him tomorrow night in those trucks. Back here at Pocono for 125 miles.
Yeah, he's definitely racing it very well today. And right behind him is Chad Presnell, who started 28th on purpose. I mean, he qualifies slow. He likes to start in the back. He just likes to roar through the field. You know, maybe that just fuels the adrenaline as he, you know, every time you pass a car, you get, it's like, hey, I'm moving, or I don't know what the reason for the strategy is, but that seems to be his strategy. He likes to start in the back, and then he just carves his way through the field at most tracks. Spencer Tart right on Hustad's bumper. Yeah,
I saw Hustad blink out there for a second. I don't know if it was an issue just on my end. Out,
so kind of a, Yeah, on my end, it was Tart blinking out, so there's a little bit of a issue between those 2 drivers. Hopefully network issues don't cause a wreck between those guys.
The longer they fight with each other, Martin, I mean, if Spencer Tart dives towards the inside, right, if he takes a lower line than Hustad going into a corner, Hustad's going to try to correct and go down lower than Tart to make sure he preserves his position. That's just going to allow the 55 there, Presnell, to approach. But we do know Presnell and the 32 of Hustad are teammates, so have to be communicating with each other to a certain extent on the radio. So we'll see. I mean, at this point, I'm sure Hustad is just trying to keep everybody behind him. You know, it's no surprise that we've seen Hustad and the 55 compete with one another, even though they're teammates. So I don't think Hustad's going to give anything to anybody, whether you're a teammate or not, at this point.
I'm thinking Steven Sims someone slapped one of the walls coming out.
We see Steven Sims way back in the 23rd position.
And Aaron James just got dumped by network issues. That's unfortunate for him. Again, a guy competing for a playoff spot. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. I think it sounds like actually him and Steven Sims and Alexander Russell got into each other. And Steven Sims now really slow because of that. So some things just, some contact happening in the back of the field, not bringing out any yellows, not big enough to bring out that. Looking back, Jonathan Schwartz and Joseph Helt running 9th and 11th now, sandwiching Eric Johnson. So those guys working their way back into the top 10 as we have about 20 laps to go.
Yeah, the 58 worrying me a little bit here tonight. Definitely not as impressive as he was the last time through at Pocono here, but still hanging around. I mean, a top 10. Can't be disappointed by the top 10, Martin.
Well, at this point, for those guys that have wins, they're looking for that. They're just looking for more wins to get more bonus points because they're already locked in the playoffs. So a guy like Jonathan Schwartz, he's in the playoffs. He's now looking for wins, and so top 10 is nothing to sniff at, but he definitely wants to put some more wins under his belt and close that gap with Anthony Burrows.
Yeah, it's definitely not the ultimate goal, but he is going to pass the 21 here of Eric Johnson. Yeah, wiggles a little bit as he tries to hold on to the car, but he does get around the 21. The 21 has to let off a little bit, and that allows the 46 here of Andrew Schmeier to head to the inside of Eric Johnson. We talked about it earlier. That train, man, it's ridiculous. These straightaways matter so much, and the thing that gets that straightaway started is the exit out of that corner. So 46 fighting in there. Schwartz is able to pull away easily with all that clean air in front of him, and I kind of feel bad for Wade Hustad. We talked about the clean air a little bit ago. Hustad had the opportunity. He could have ran away with this race, and he makes that mistake, and now he finds himself in third, doing everything he can to hold off the 29 here of Spencer Tart.
And Eric Wolf has closed that gap with Anthony Burrows.
Oh, yeah, Wolf's not going quietly, Martin. I can tell you, he was super impressive here last time at Pocono. He did qualify on her pole position tonight, and Wolf is just diving it in this corner. Look at him. He gets into the corner so quick. It's just a matter of how fast can you get back out of the corner, and Anthony Burrows seems to have him topped in that regard. Look at Eric Wolf. Gains all of that space heading into the corner through the apex. And Anthony Burrows didn't maintain the gap or grow the gap coming out of the corner like he had in the previous straightaway. So a good job on Eric Wolf's part. He is still gaining some speed here on Anthony Burrows in the 62.
Yeah, look at him close that. Especially here in turn 1, he closes that gap.
Oh, he's crazy.
Yeah, definitely gained it.
So watching turn 2. So turn 2, you're going to see Eric Wolf's going to go in here hard. But I feel like coming out of the corner, or at least last time by, maybe not this time by. I was going to say Anthony Burrows seems to grow the lead coming out of 2, but after that little bit of a shimmy, he does get it back. That little bit of a shake by Eric Wolf, but Eric Wolf's about to show him what he's got coming out of this corner.
Well, that last lap, Wolf was 0.03 of a second faster. So let's see what this one shows you.
Yeah, Wolf definitely gained on him there.
Yeah, Wolf's now almost a tenth of a second faster. So he's gaining. It's slow, but now this one there he goes.
There it is again. As those tires start to wear, now he's got that outside position. Anthony Burrows can't close up to the wall like he would like to. Has to let off a little too much. And here it is, Martin. This is the classic race of the Dynasty Racing League. We saw this all last season during the Cup Series. We saw it during the Winter Series. We've seen it
Look
all
at the timing gains there. He just sucks up on him and goes. I mean,
all year this year already. I mean, Eric Wolf is just a master at controlling that thing.
And that's not to say Anthony Burrows is a slouch. Again, 7 wins. He's the winningest driver in DRL, and there's a mistake. I think Wolf tried to get under him there, and that's going to cost Wolf a ton of time, actually. He wasn't able to pass him out of turn 3.
Yeah, Wolf got to the inside, wasn't comfortable, had to let off the gas a little too much, and
so he's going to have to work again to get back into that position to pass, because
this is what I was talking about earlier. Wolf is super, super, super good at this track when it comes to being in clean air. If he has the opportunity to run his line and his line only, good night. But he doesn't have that opportunity right now. Anthony Burrows holds that lead. Eric Wolf has got to get around him, and the only way he's going to be able to do it is either A, Burrows makes a big mistake, or B, Eric finds out some way to drive that lower line and be able to get out of that corner in a timely manner. And I don't know if I see it happening, Martin. It's going to be a hell of a race here at the end. We got 15 laps to go. We're 66 in out of 80 as they come across the start-finish. Tick that over to 67 out of 80. But every lap that ticks by as these guys continue to fight, you see the 32 there in the background. He's starting to sneak up on him.
Yeah, we got a battle for 7th between John Theodore and Mike Springer, and Joseph Helt actually working his way now into 8th. He's going to pass Springer. Springer gets loose off of turn 1. He's going to lose that position to Helt. Falls back to 9th.
We know how good Helt is here tonight, man. He got around Springer there, had to miss the unfortunate restart earlier against Hustad. Helt now gets to the inside of the 89. Not quite. Does look like he gets,
yep. He's got it.
He gets up in front of him. Theodore lets off a little early, afraid to make that contact. But now Theodore back to the inside, trying to dive back down underneath the O2 of Helt. Looks like Helt is going to hold him off for now. So awesome pass by Joseph Helt.
You can see those wiggles, too. Those little wiggles as they come out of the turn where they're just trying to get those rear wheels under them.
That's right. The O2 starting in position 02. He started in 2nd tonight. He currently runs in 7th with Theodore right on his bumper. We'll see if he has what it takes to continue to work his way forward and maybe catch the back of the 68 of Thomas Harmon. Another couple positions back, we now have Andrew Schmeier there and the 21 of Eric Johnson still battling with one another. Those guys have been around each other all night. Alec Martinez in the 92 doing very well as well. He sits in the 11th position, so trying to get himself a top 10 if he can work his way around the 21 of Eric Johnson.
Now, I can't remember if that was Eli Hinton and Alec Martinez's first race. Was the last time we were at Pocono, or it was pretty close to their first race.
That was that evening, but Martinez doing okay for himself this evening.
Yep. Yeah, he's been a guy that's just been around. He hasn't really ruffled too many feathers so far in his young DRL career. Young in relative terms to everyone else. I mean, a lot of these guys are in their first year of DRL. We've only been around for 2 years. I mean,
I was going to say, Martin, you talk about being around for a year. I mean, very few of us have been around for a full calendar year, quote unquote. But if you count seasons, I mean, we had the awesome Cup season last year. It was a little bit of a shortened season. We're not following the actual NASCAR schedule like we are this year. We're definitely not running 4 series like we are this year. But Dynasty Racing League, it's only been around about a year and a half at this point. So this year, definitely a much fuller schedule, much more competition out here. And that's what makes these two guys out front so much more impressive is they showed us what they had last year. And they're still able to do it after these 5, 6, 7,000 I-rated guys come into the league.
Yeah, this influx of talent and the guys that were already here last year dominating are still in a pretty dominant position. at least in terms, at least for Anthony Burrows, has 7 wins. It has not let off at all, despite there being a little bit stiffer competition for him.
Burrows is a young guy too. I think he's 16 or 17 years old. He comes out week in and week out, and just shows everybody what he's got. I mean, Anthony Burrows doesn't necessarily run the fastest lap in qualifying every week. But he's so consistent. He's so good at avoiding wrecks. He's so good at capitalizing on the guy in front of him's mistakes. And the 62, every single week, he finds himself in a top 5 position, if not winning a race. I mean, what does he have? 7 under his belt. He's 9 laps away from making it 8. You can't ask for much more, especially from a kid of his age. I can't wait to see what Anthony Burrows can do going forward.
Well, we talk about, I mean, in NASCAR, they talk about the big 3, and I mean, we kind of have I don't know if we have a big 3 or maybe a big 5, something like that. I kind of look at almost our winners plus Eric Wolf. You got Anthony Burrows, Eric Wolf, Wade Hustad, who's run 3rd. Jonathan Schwartz also has 3 wins. So there's 4 guys right there, and then I'd probably throw Chad Presnell in there at this point, as you're kind of like the big 5 of this series right now. And I'm sure there's going to be, going into next year, as they have a lot more races to run. Joseph Helt or an Eli Hinton, if he shows up consistently. Justin Bolton's up here. There's going to be a lot of guys vying for that playoff. This year the playoff race is exciting. Next year it's going to be even more competitive with those newer drivers who have come in midway through the season.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the playoff drive in here. It is point standings drivers only, so
Yep, points guys
we
only.
will see these fields thin out a little bit. You won't have the likes of Spencer Tart, who currently runs fourth. He will not be able to compete in Cup races here come about 10 weeks from now. But
the thing about the Cup races, all season though, is that I mean, besides like a place like Daytona or Talladega, for the most part, the Cup races are mostly Cup drivers. I mean, there's the 1, 2, or 3 non-points guys running, but usually it's pretty full field of Cup guys. Versus what you see in like especially Grand National, where it seems like there's at least in our league, there's a smaller group of points guys, and so for those fields to be filled out, it's quite a few truck and Cup guys.
Yeah, I mean, Martin, I don't know about you, but I don't want to step up and try to race with some of these guys. They're just ridiculous in those cars. So,
New Hampshire, and about halfway through that race, I just parked my car. I don't think I had damage or anything. I just parked. I'm like, okay, I'm in the way. I'm too slow.
Right. Time to call it quits. Have a good night.
I can compete. Yeah, I can compete in the official race in my, at the same level. But these guys are they're at another level, and you don't want to be in their way. You don't want to be in their way if you're not a competitive car. If you're a guy who's not actually, competing, because sometimes you'll have a lapped car. Oh, Wade Hustad gets a little loose there. That turn 1 trying to get under Eric
he's
Wolf.
Putting the heat on the 24 there, Wolf. I mean, Wolf's so impressive in the last Pocono race. I thought he had what it takes. He's my pick for this evening, but Hustad is catching him.
I think Burrows is checking out too. I mean, Burrows is that lead is getting bigger and bigger, and barring like yellow flag coming out in the next couple laps, this race it's not going to reset. So
it looks to be Burrows at this point, but you never know what's going to happen. I mean, there goes Hustad to the inside of the 24, trying to get underneath him, but they are going the same speed down that straight. We'll see what happens here when the 24 breaks. Hopefully the 32 doesn't get into him. Wade Hustad elects to drop down to the inside. Hopefully can hit his mark. Those two get very close to one another. Awesome racing there. The 32... And see, that's the thing, Martin. It's so hard to pass. I mean, Wolf had that same position on Burrows no less than 10 laps ago, and now you see the gap between the two. I mean, that not only is it hard, super hard to do, but it eats up the tires.
Yeah, Tart's coming over the radio saying, "Hey." Yeah, Tart's coming over the radio saying, "Hey, Presnell, you can have it. I have to start saving. I'm, getting really tires are gone."
And there he
goes, moving
the
to fourth.
55 of Presnell down to the inside of the 29 is Spencer
right
Tart.
behind them is Joseph
Held, man, he almost loses it.
Schwartz running in 10th, and then there's a battle for 8th between Harmon and Mike Springer. They're battling for 8th. Right in front of them is John Theodore. So there's still some battles going on. Schmeier, Johnson, Eric Johnson, and Alec Martinez still running 11th, 12th, and 13th. Jeffrey Meyer on his own little island back in 14th. Chris James,
Martin,
Jim Westerfield, and David Wright.
I hope you can update me on that race in the front. I've been looking here at Joseph Helt. He does make the pass on Spencer Tart. What a race from Joseph Helt this evening. Works his way back up to the 5th position. He started in 2nd tonight, guys, but he fell so far back, and for him to work his way up like he did, I mean, I don't want to say I was talking smack about him earlier tonight, but I mean, the last time at Pocono, he qualified great. He raced great for the first third of the race, and then kind of quote-unquote crapped it away, and now he's worked himself. He did the same thing tonight. I felt like it was a repeat of the earlier Pocono race, and he's got himself back up into a 5th position tonight. Awesome job by the O2.
Well, you want an update on the leaders? They've closed the gap. They're right.
All 3 of them.
1st, 2nd, and 3rd is about the same between each of them. Wade Hustad actually, that gap between him and Wolf now growing coming out of turn 2, and Wolf is coming up on that bumper again of Burrows. So I don't know if he's just saving a little something, if Burrows has let off right now to just take it easy, and now he's let these guys right back into contention, and he's going to maybe check out in a few laps here and say, okay, I can take off because I saved a little bit. I don't know. But Wolf is, I could see him eyeing it up. He's eyeing up that turn one.
He is. He's just dipping that front left end. Yeah, he's getting that front left end just to the inside of Anthony Burrows, and it's not going to be easy, Martin. But with 3 laps to go, this is going to be a ridiculously exciting ending to this race. I hope these guys don't wreck each other out. Something goes horribly awry, but the slightest mistake by any one of these drivers, and it's over for the other 2.
Well, I said it's like about 2-3 laps ago. I said, "Oh, Burrows is checked out. This race is basically over." And now, Burrows probably still has it in the bag, but it's gonna be pretty close. It's not. He definitely can feel. I mean, Wolf is right on his bumper. Gives him a little nudge, even.
Yeah, Martin. I am now in the cockpit view here of Wade Hustad. Hopefully, you'll join me to watch this action from third, but. Awesome race here for the finish. I can't wait to see what these guys can do as we have 2 laps remaining. Oh, Eric Wolf gets the high line. Hustad down to the inside, but Wolf, awesome exit. Don't hit the wall. The 24 stays out of the wall. Wow.
Yeah, he's going to get a run.
Wolf is racing the wheels off of this car as he heads to the inside of Anthony Burrows. I'm going to go to the in-car view of Eric Wolf. You see his nose edging just forward of the 62. Burrows does get down in front of him.
Yeah, he had to let off going. It seemed like he had to move up to that high line in turn 1 because he almost ran Burrows over going in.
I think this is where Wolf's. Oh, Wolf had a chance to take it there, and almost hit the rear end of the 62 as Wolf goes to the inside. That is good night.
Oh no!
Good night, Eric Wolf takes the lead, and Anthony Burrows with that mistake.
Oh!
Wade Hustad in this.
Wrecked on that front stretch.
Dude, I know.
Side by side now.
And here goes Eric Wolf once again. Tries to get to the inside. Oh, and he starts to lose it. Now Anthony Burrows is coming to the inside.
Oh!
Wolf can barely hold on to it. Oh, my God.
Wolf is going to... Come on.
What a finish.
Wow, what happened to Wolf? He just kind of stopped there.
Did he cough?
We're going to talk top 3, and we're going to talk to Wolf as well. Race Control's telling top 3 to stay, but I think we're going to also have to get Wolf in here. But just ask him what he... Because he let off the gas he had to let off the gas, and then he just kind of let Burrows go, and then lets Helt go, and Helt almost catches Burrows crossing the line as well. I wasn't even thinking about fuel. It looks like Burrows. Yeah, it sounds like some of those guys, like Burrows was short on fuel. Maybe Wolf ran out of gas.
Martin, stop for a second. All right, so I guess my internet disconnected. Hang on 1 second.
Oh, no.
Well, I just want to bring this to our viewers and make sure everybody got to see the last lap. I'm receiving some reports now that the last lap was super, super choppy. And then all of a sudden, OBS told me that it disconnected, and then it said it reconnected. So, guys, I am going to revert here, and I apologize to anybody who sees this. This is just a, regular iRacing. I'm going to get rid of... this UI hiding. You guys are going to see the UI of iRacing, and I am going to go back multiple laps, and we're going to watch Eric Wolf race this thing. This was just an absolutely impressive finish to the end of this race here, and I want everybody to be able to see it live. So I apologize for the choppiness at the end of this race. We're going to watch this one more time. Again, we see the 62 here of Anthony Burrows in first position, 24 of Eric Wolf in second, and Wade Hustad in the 32. They got 2 to go here, guys. This is with 2 to go.
And I'm just watching what's going on the track right now. These guys, I think these guys are all out of fuel because Wade Hustad is crawling around the track right now.
Yeah, that had to be the end of it. That's why Eric Wolf ended up letting him pass him at the end. Martin, we're going to re-watch this replay here for a second. Again, 62 of Anthony Burrows. You got the 24 here of Eric Wolf. We're going to go down into the cockpit. Eric Wolf gets to the inside here of Anthony Burrows as he goes to the inside of the 62. This is the white flag, guys. The white flag just waved. They crossed the start-finish line, and now is Eric Wolf's chance to make his move. He ends up having to go high. But now it's time to dive it right back inside, and he does. He gets out of that corner much better than the 62 of Anthony Burrows, so he goes underneath him to get that move. We'll go back out to the view from afar. You see Wade Hustad just lurking in the background. One more time, the in-car camera of Eric Wolf. Barely Anthony Burrows is able to hold him off going into that corner, but again, Eric holds him off coming out. And Anthony Burrows checks up just a little bit too much. And now here's where Eric starts to lose it. He gets shaky, gets to the inside of the 62. Okay, so that wasn't the white flag. Now we're taking the white flag. So that was with 2 to go. So here's where Eric Wolf has all the marbles. Does he hold them off or does he not? The 32 of Wade Hustad just gets into the back of the 24. Sends the 24 sideways, and now Hustad's making his move. He's got much more speed than the 24 of Eric Wolf. Eric tries to come down and block, unable to be successful. They race side by side going into turn 2, but Hustad has that better line. Eric tries to follow, dips back down to the inside. Gets in the inside of the 32. But once again, Hustad takes the corner a little better, and here's where everything goes awry for Eric Wolf. Things go sideways. The 62 of Anthony Burrows gets around him, and now we hear Eric Wolf is now losing power. He is completely out of gas, and Joseph Helt is also able to make the pass there and take the 3rd position. So sorry that happened the way it did, guys. Super unfortunate time for my internet to take a crap, but I'm glad you all got to see the end of that race. Crazy, crazy, crazy finish there at the end.
Burrows was also out of fuel there, crossing the line. That's why Helt was gaining so much time on him. They were all out of fuel. That Wolf just ran out of fuel going through the turn, and Burrows probably ran out of fuel just as he got out of the turn, and Helt still had quite a bit, or just enough to be able to sneak into 3rd. So we're going to bring in... Who are we going to bring in first for this interview after that exciting, crazy finish?
Martin, I don't even know who to bring in first. Like, I feel like we should go down and, like, bring in Kean Riley Howell, the guy who finished in the last position in tonight's race. Like, I don't even know what to think. That was the craziest finish. Those 3 drivers, I mean, you know, we kind of make fun of Americans nowadays for these participation trophies, but all 3 of those guys deserve a trophy for this evening. That was incredible racing.
Well, and then talk about Joseph Helt. Joseph Helt finishes 3rd after dropping all the way back, battles his way all the way back into it. He's not in the picture. And then because those guys run out of fuel battling for it, he finishes 3rd place because he just kept at it. And that he just came out of nowhere because that's like we're just focused on those top 3. And then Joseph Helt, who's running in 4th, is able to come in for a 3rd place finish because Wolf runs out of gas.
Yeah, that's absolutely nutty. So,
right,
well, Helt is definitely one of those guys I wanted to interview, but the very first guy we're going to bring in is, we're going to bring in Wade Hustad and congratulate him on the win.
Go with our winner first.
That's right.
You got him, or should I get him?
Wade Hustad, you got a copy, buddy.
Hey, Ryan, I do.
Hey, I haven't talked to you in a while. I've been away from the broadcast booth for a little bit, but I think that was the most ridiculous thing I've seen in iRacing. Not just in the DRL. I know the DRL is a great place to race, and it can, provide some competition. But what a last 3 laps, man!
Yeah, I tell you, I thought I was out of it on that restart. I drifted the crap out of turn 2, and Anthony was gone. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to make up for what I did wrong there. So I was slowly catching those guys. They had a couple laps where they're side by side, and I knew it was going to kind of come down to the wire, and I think Spencer Tart got on the horn probably about 10 laps to go and said he had to save fuel, and I looked, and I was really, really close. So just doing some estimation, I knew I was going to make it. I was saving like madman underneath all those yellows we had before that last long green flag run. And looks like luck paid out tonight. I don't know if those other guys ran out of gas, but we made it. So we're going to take this win. It's pretty damn exciting.
A hell of a job saving by you. We didn't even realize that there was a fuel issue up here in the broadcast booth. A little bit of an undersight by us, but
me and Getty mentioned it earlier, and then we're kind of like, okay, there might be a fuel, we might get into that, but we've never really seen anything like that in DRL so far.
Yeah, we didn't think about it.
Suddenly we
forgot the race
because it was so exciting, the racing that was going on, and then suddenly Wolf just basically comes to a stop coming out of turn 3, and Burrows kind of slides across the finish. I mean, you take off, you win the race, and then Burrows comes coasting in for the 2nd place. Wolf gets blown by Helt, and it's like, what's going on with Wolf? It's like he ran out of gas.
Then it all made sense.
Well, that's the thing. We didn't even notice it until the 4th guy crossed the line, and we're like, why is Eric Wolf slowing down like that? Oh, crap. I mean, Prior to that, not including any of that running out of gas stuff, you guys, those last few laps, I don't know why Burrows let you guys catch him like he did. It might have been a gas saving tactic that he was doing.
I think it was, yeah.
And then those couple laps of those two fighting one another allowed you to catch up a little bit, but you stuck around up there all night. You had a great race at Pocono earlier in the season, and you were able to pull it out this evening, man. How'd you do it? I mean, what was it like out there?
Man, it's just tenacity. I really didn't feel like I had the best car tonight. Anthony was on top of it. Same with Eric. Just kind of playing my strategies. I mean, we had a yellow with, I think, 48 to go, and I was thinking I'm going to split the difference if there happens to be a long green flag run. And in this circumstance, we had, I think, 3 yellows come out, and it allowed me to save. And I'm always saving gas. You never know when it's going to come up, and it did tonight. So with Anthony kind of giving up some spots or some time there on the track to save gas, I think once Spencer mentioned something, Anthony's like, oh, crap, I don't know if I'm going to make it. So really just kind of come down to it's the lesser of two evils at that point in time for Anthony, and I knew I could push it. I was just going for it. So it was really fun racing Eric there at the end. We were dicing across the front straightaway, damn near all the way down to the bottom, and I didn't really know what to do, and I pushed him just a little bit into one, and that was unintentional, so I want to apologize for that, but that was some crazy fun racing. I couldn't ask to do it any other way.
Yeah, I mean, we could tell it was unintentional between all of you guys tonight. Burrows and Eric got into it a couple times. You got into it with him there. I mean, awesome racing, man. I do the same thing myself. Every time I'm under a caution flag, I'm either in, top gear, just barely coasting, or I'm literally shutting the engine off. And from all of my memory of iRacing, I've been doing it for a couple years now. That's the first time I've really seen it come into effect.
Seen it be an issue
at the end of the race like that. That's just normally it happens. If somebody's going to run out of fuel, it happens a lap prior. But you literally had 2 of the top 3 guys lose fuel,
turn 3,
run out of fuel on turn 3 of the last lap when there's only 3 turns on the lap. Like that's.
It's unheard of. I hope you guys are on the tip of your chair just
Dude,
wondering what the hell is going on.
You have no idea. It was like, a great race to watch, man.
I think the closest this reminds me of the first race of the season at Daytona, that finish where David Wright run the race and you guys were all up there banging and cars were crashing and he whipped through and won that race. That's how we were. I was like shouting.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the win, Wade. You got a shout out you want to give to anybody, buddy?
I just want to shout out to Chad. I mean, we've been racing for a long time together. He's one of my best friends on here, and I'm glad he stuck it out tonight. It's one of those tracks that it really isn't too fun. There's just a long, straightaways and whatnot. But other than that, Ryan, it's good to see you back. Barton, you are top notch on here with all the work you do. It's crazy. So just want to thank JP and Dynasty Racing League. You guys do a great job.
Well, thanks a bunch, Wade. Tell Chad our condolences coming in 17th after racing that car the way he did this evening. It's unfortunate. Moved his way all the way.
Did he
from
run
the
out
back.
of fuel?
You'll have to ask him. I think he had a little mishap in the tunnel turn on that last lap. So.
He came all the way from the back.
He was
to
making
the front.
a move. He was moving
doing,
pretty good. Yeah,
he was doing really well for himself.
But thanks again, guys. I appreciate it.
No problem, man. Have a great night, Wade.
You too.
All right, now we're going to go ahead and bring in our second place driver, Anthony Burrows. Always a pleasure to hear from him, that's for sure. Let's go down and see if we can find him. I feel like we interview Anthony Burrows every week, man. It's almost getting old at this point. Anthony Burrows, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, I just told Martin it's almost getting old at this point. We're interviewing you week in and week out, buddy. That's came damn close to win number 8 this evening. What happened there at the end? Did you run out of fuel?
Yeah, I ran out. I was I wasn't even thinking about fuel that entire run. I thought we'd be just fine. Until I got to 6 laps to go, and it said I had 5 laps of fuel left. So, yeah, from there,
never a good feeling.
Feeling right there.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I was taking it really easy from that point on. I still didn't even make it. So.
Well, that puts it into perspective for all of our viewers a little bit. When the crew chief comes over the radio and says 5 laps to go, and you look down and you see 6 laps to go, and you go, wait a second. So Wade Hustad said he was saving and during every pit stop. Do you regularly turn the engine on and off during pit stops, or?
Pace lap or the yellow
Or
flags.
yeah, I mean caution laps is what I meant.
I don't turn the car on and off, but I usually have it in fourth gear, like just to be safe, even if I know I'll make it to the end. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't shut the engine off, but yeah, I'll just run it in fourth gear and hope I'll make it.
Gotcha. Well, a heck of a race, dude. I mean, Martin, what was it? 12 laps to go. We said something along the lines, I don't see Anthony Burrows not winning
Burrows
this
is
race.
checked out.
Yeah, we really didn't realize that fuel was an issue either. And I think it was around that 6 to go when they started to close that gap back on you. And me and Martin went, well, wait a second. Hustad and Wolf have closed back in on Burrows, and we didn't know what was going on honestly until the race ended, Anthony. So. Way to stick up there, man. You made the fuel last, and you come away with a second place finish. Are you satisfied with tonight's finish, or?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy with second. This is not one of my best tracks, but I went out and had some fun tonight. So, yeah, I'm definitely satisfied with second.
Awesome, man. Well, a heck of a win. You're still up there in the point standings. Obviously, the favorite to win this season, but. You were the favorite to win last season, and that guy who finished just 2 positions behind you was able to sneak it out at the end. So hopefully we'll see you back again next week and keep competing out there every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Anthony. You want to give a shout out to anybody before we let you go?
Yeah, definitely shout out to Eric and Wade for that finish, keeping it clean. We were racing hard and close to each other, but we kept it clean, didn't wreck each other. Yeah, sorry to Eric. I got into him early on in the race around lap 30, so yeah, I apologize for that. Yeah, shout out to you guys for putting on the broadcast as always, and James and everyone for putting on this league.
Yeah, I had meant to ask about that. Now you reminded me of it. You getting into the left rear of Eric. He was leading the entire race before that point. What happened there? I mean, did he let off? Just me and Martin were questioning each other throughout the broadcast. Did he let off a little more than you expected, or did you just get back into the gas a second too early?
I haven't gotten the chance to look at it yet, but I was barely on his inside going into 1. I'm not sure if I came up a little bit or if he came down, but I think it was just a racing incident. But yeah, it was really unfortunate that happened.
Well, a hell of a save by him. You didn't take too much front end damage, and you guys both come away with a clean car and a clean finish here tonight. Congrats again, Anthony. Hopefully we'll see you again next week, man.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, Martin. Here's the guy I want to talk to. Joseph Helt. What a finish. Joseph Helt, do you have a copy, sir?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Hey, man. I don't know if I was like secretly rooting you on this evening or what it was, but I had rewatched the Pocono race from earlier in the season, and then tonight just felt like a redo. Like you did it all over again. You went from the front, you qualified well, you fell all the fucking way back, and I don't know exactly what happened, but you were able to fight your way back to the front this evening, and you were able to come away with a 3rd place finish. How does it feel?
Feels good. It was one heck of a night, one heck of a finish. It looked fun from my dash. Yeah, I missed my pit stall pretty early on. I was too far left, and then all the way back, then hit the wall coming through the field, went all the way back. Second to last caution, though, I went in and topped off and was hoping it would go green to the end, and needed about 100 more yards to be good to go on that.
Yeah, it was an awesome finish. Were you good on fuel right at the end there?
Yeah, I took it a little bit easy early on in the run just to make sure. Then I realized I was good to go with about 15 left. And then since I realized that I was that close, and they had at least 4, they had a green flag lap and then 3 more caution laps than I did on their fuel tank. So I knew that they would be short. So I was just hoping to run them down.
Yeah, I mean, you could race the wheels off the car at that point. Come away with the position that you finished with tonight. You do get another 3rd place finish. Seem to be doing okay in the point standings, but think you're going to be around here for the rest of the season? You're going to be able to race for a championship or what?
Hopefully. I don't know if I qualify for the playoffs, but if I do, I'd love to be in it and trying to fight for the win.
Well, at this point, so it's going to come down strictly to points right now. So you're going to have to do very well throughout the rest of the season. There are some guys who are locked in strictly based on their participation, but you might have an opportunity to make it in towards the end of the season. Hopefully you do. We'd love to see you in the playoffs, man. Great race tonight. Congratulations on third. And we hope to see you again next week.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Love what you guys do. Fun broadcast from what I hear. So I'm excited for next week.
Oh, it was a heck of a broadcast. I hope you get a chance to watch it back. You want to shout out anybody before I let you go?
Yeah, everybody who puts the league on, you guys do a lot of work, and I know it's been a tough week, but this was a great race, and you guys put on a great show. So thank you for all you do. Thanks for everybody watching. Can't wait for next week.
All right, man. Have a great night.
Thanks, guys. You too.
Now we're gonna go back. I'm gonna grab. Let's see if he's still around. See if we can grab Eric Wolf. Eric Wolf, you got a copy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I know it took a little bit for me to get to you. Coming fourth tonight, run out of fuel, unfortunately, there at the end. When did you realize you had fuel problems?
With about 10 to go, maybe 5 to go. I mean, 10 to go, I knew it was going to be close. 5 to go, with 5 to go, I knew it would be really close. And I thought I was actually going to have enough. I thought I had done enough to have enough to make it to the end, but I was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't stop laughing about it, but Mr. Burrows said, well, you know, I kind of realized it when I had 6 laps to go, and they came over the radio and said you got 5 laps of fuel left. So, heck of a race, man. I thought you would be the one to win it again tonight. You raced so well. Anthony Burrows got up into you from the inside early in that race. Do you think that's what cost you it? I mean, do you feel as if you had clean air to run in, you could have done more work than you did, or?
Well, track position is really important here. I think that put me back to 4th after that and gave me a little bit of optional damage. Didn't really seem to hurt the performance, but yeah, ultimately that took 4 spots away from me. I'd say if I could pinpoint one moment in the race where it slipped away, that would be it. But by no means did he cost me the race. It just, I ran out of fuel at the end.
Yeah, those last 3 to 3.5 laps were the most exciting, I think. Not only have I seen here in the Dynasty Racing League, but in iRacing in general. You guys, Husted, and Burrows were an absolute pleasure to watch this evening. It sucks you ran out of fuel right at the end and let Helt get around you, but he definitely raced his butt off this evening, as did yourself. Congratulations on the 4th place finish. Do you want to shout out anybody before I let you go this evening?
Yeah, Wade and Anthony both. They raced me hard, raced me clean. I know they got into me a little bit, but that was just hard racing. It was a lot of fun racing with them. Congratulations to Joe. I know he had a bad stop there, ended up restart 21st. Good for him to come back and finish 3rd. He might have been the quickest car tonight. I'm not sure, but he was definitely fast. He deserved a top 3. Yeah, just a lot of fun. Thank you guys for putting on the broadcast and DRL for putting on this league. It's the best racing you can come across in iRacing.
And thank you for letting that car point itself towards the inside wall, literally 90 degrees, and then correcting it back out on, what was that, lap 31 or 32? You did that. That was an awesome save, man.
Thank you. Yeah, every once in a while I get them right.
Have a good night, buddy. We'll see you again next week.
All right, sounds good. Later.
That was Eric Wolf, our 4th place finisher for this evening. We're going to go ahead and try to pull in John Theodore here in the 89. I'll see if he's still around. I know these interviews have ran a little bit long, so might not be around at this point. Let's see if I can. Martin, you see John Theodore anywhere?
I do not.
Yeah, I think he has checked out for this evening. We got a few guys in there. Interviews ran a little bit long. It was just such an exciting ending, Martin.
Yeah, I think we got who we need. I mean, I think we got the guys. We got the top 3, and we had to get Eric Wolf because he was in that.
I mean, I had to get Wolf, and I
there.
had to get Helt. I mean, I think I was sending a message.
Well, those
to
guys.
The
I mean, it's like
admins
top
and
4
stuff.
seems about the place to do it.
I was sending a message to the admins like 10 laps before the race ended and said, you know, I have to talk to Joseph Helt at the end of this race, whether he finishes 5th or 6th. And then he ends up coming in 3rd. So crazy finish there. But looks like we have found John Theodore. Mr. Theodore, you got a copy, buddy.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I didn't know you were going to interview me. I thought you were only going to interview the top 3. How's it going?
No worries, man. We were looking for the, I really wanted to talk to Joseph Helt, and this is way before I thought he was going to finish in the top 3, but heck of an ending there. You managed to come in 5th. You kind of stuck around up there all night in the top 10. You were in and out and in and out, and you had a pretty consistent race. How was Pocono for you this evening?
A lot better than it's been in the past for me. Yeah, I mean, I fell back at one point because I was, I saw an opportunity to put myself on a one-stop strategy. So that dropped me back in the standings, was able to work the way up through. Had a pretty clean race overall. I can't really say it was uneventful. There was a lot of hard racing going on. My viewers on my stream, twitch.tv/John_A_Theodore, really enjoyed it. So yeah, it was a very fun night. Definitely better than the Pocono race back in June for sure.
Yeah, it was a fun race. There was some more silly cautions this evening. I think last Pocono race we had some stuff happen right at the end that kind of killed the ending for us. But those top 3 guys had an awesome finish tonight. You were able to come in with a 5th. You're doing good in the point standings. Do you feel like you're going to be able to make a championship run here or what?
I sure hope so, man. I've been busting my hump volunteering for Corey Bush's campaign, so I haven't really been able to practice these last few weeks the way that I would normally want to. So I'm hoping that, a little bit more time devoted to practice if I'm able to make it into the playoffs on points, which looks like I'm kind of right on the border for that. I'll, kind of be back on even footing. I think I missed like the first 3 or 4 races of the season. So once the playoffs start, I'm kind of back on even footing with everyone, and I'll do my best to make Homestead for sure. If I get there, we'll see. Homestead's one of my better tracks, so definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I mean, you sit 14th right now. You're quote unquote kind of on the bubble. If somebody else outside the top 16 sneaks in a win, they might be able to get in front of you. But you're doing very well for yourself after how late you ended up starting in the season. So as of now, I mean, you got a few races to go, but it looks like you're going to make it into the playoffs. I did mention the Corey Bush Ford a couple times tonight, so I'm sure that's a shout out that you want to throw out there. But anybody else you want to give thanks to, man?
Absolutely. Well, I definitely want to give a shout out to Corey Bush because we are 1 week now from the all-important primary day, election day. So that's next Tuesday, August 7th. We're calling it hashtag Be the First Day because it's the first district. Corey Bush would be the first woman to represent Missouri's first district if elected. And she would also be the first Black woman to represent Missouri in Washington in any position. So big shout out to her. Shout out to all the volunteers who have been working so hard on her campaign. I will be missing next week's race at Watkins Glen. So it was really, really important to get those points tonight because next week, Tuesday night's the election night. I'll be at the watch party for that.
Cop out. No, I'm just kidding. Watkins Glen's a tough one, man. If there's a race to miss, you might as well take that one off.
Well, honestly, I really would, I don't shy away from challenging races, so I would love to race it. I'm not particularly good at the road courses, but I'm getting better, so I would have liked to be able to compete, but, sometimes real life definitely comes first, and I've been working on this campaign in a volunteer capacity for over a year now, so really looking forward to having that over the line. Appreciate you guys giving a shout out to the car. That's why I put her on the car, man, is just to, just it's like they always tell those the guys in real life, just get the car in the box and the broadcasters will talk about it. So I've been trying to do that ever since I've been carrying her on the car.
That's all you got to do, man. You did it tonight. You come in 5th. I know we'll see you a week after next, and we wish you the best of luck at that point. We wish you the best of luck next Tuesday night during that election period, and can't wait to see you compete for a playoff here.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to talking with you guys in a couple weeks, hopefully, maybe from Victory Lane.
Have a good one, John.
All right, thanks. Catch you guys later.
Well, Martin, that is it for this evening. I got the point standings pulled up here. Anthony Burrows just cementing his lead after tonight. I mean, he comes in second. it's not another win, Martin, but can you complain about a second place finish? I don't think you can.
Yeah, it's definitely helps him points wise, and then Wade Hustad now collecting his 4th win, so he's going to actually closes that gap once we get in the playoffs between him and Burrows.
He does just a
And,
little bit. Jonathan Schwartz not having the best night tonight. I mean, he's got 9 bonus points. Hustad's going to jump up a little bit there to 12 bonus points after tonight's race. But Chad Presnell on the 55, we saw some glimmers from him. Thomas Harmon doing a heck of a job. I know he only has 3 bonus points, but when Harmon first returned, I know we saw him, at the beginning of the season, we saw that very first win, his first night back. We welcomed him back. We're like, oh, look, Thomas Harmon, he's doing okay. Holy crap, Thomas Harmon wins at Texas. We couldn't believe it. It was a crazy finish to that race, and he ended up sneaking by to get the victory, and we thought it was a fluke, right? And now Harmon comes in and week out, and he proves himself. I mean, the guy's racing like a top 5 driver. I can't wait to watch him in the playoffs.
Yep. Yeah, we got a lot of. It's gonna be a deep playoff field this year. Last year was the first year in. I mean, almost basically you just showed up all season. You were in the playoffs.
Right. And that's really all. I mean, come on, Martin. Me and you made it into the playoffs last season. If that says anything.
Yeah. And there's still a few guys in that playoff picture who are, they've been here consistently showing up, and that, you're collecting enough points to get in right now. But as the competition gets stiffer, as these newer guys, win races or, finish top 5 over and over and over again, it's going to be much harder to just get into the playoffs by showing up. You're going to actually have to finish well.
Yeah, I think we just talked to one of them tonight, Martin. Joseph Helt there in the O2 finishes 3rd tonight. You've got, and this isn't, I'm not calling anybody out, but Anthony Burrows, Wade Hustad, Jonathan Schwartz, Chad Presnell, Thomas Harmon, Mark Johnson have proven themselves week in and week out, right? Eric Johnson, I talked about him earlier tonight, done an absolutely outstanding job. He's proven himself. He sits in 7th right now. Mike Springer sits in the 8th position. He's proven himself. Eric Wolf with that 1 victory, he's done a great job. He cemented himself up there. But I feel like from there on down, Chris James, Aaron James, Dustin Musial, Joshua Wakefield, John Theodore, we just spoke with him. He's a well-established iRacing driver before he comes in here. He has a little bit of a following on YouTube. I feel like he's, I know he only sits in 14th. I feel like he's somewhat cemented. He's a guy, I don't know if he can take home a championship, but he'll finish in the top 10 week in and week out. But David Wright, Brandon Dalton, Jordan Gonzalez, David Wellborn, Sam Niederhelm, and Daniel Hollis, all those guys have a little something to worry about. I mean, you got guys like Joseph Helt that are quickly moving up these leaderboards, just waiting to sneak into that top 16.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like Chris James. Well, even Aaron James, who was a playoff driver last year in our inaugural season. I mean, he's got, he's up there. Joshua Wakefield's in that playoff group right now and didn't show up this race. I think this might be his first race he's missed all season, and that's part of the reason why he's in that playoff picture, because he's just always here. He doesn't usually finish incredibly well, but he's racking up those points every week versus a guy that doesn't race every week and then has to finish well, sort of like an Eric Wolf, who has to get wins and top 5s to get into the playoffs because he's missed so many races. He needs to get in on points. That's what Joseph Helt's at too. And we said that if he keeps racing the way he's been racing, he could sneak into one of those lower spots in that playoffs. And once the playoffs start, it's all reset, other than the bonus points you get for, I believe, points and wins. So.
Right, and I hope Helt gets an opportunity because we've seen a lot of good stuff out of him lately. But let's go look at the unofficial results here tonight. Wade Hustad, obviously our winner. Anthony Burrows in 2nd. Joseph Helt in 3rd. Eric Wolf finishes 4th after running out of fuel there at the end. Jonathan Theodore comes in 5th. 6th goes to Jonathan Schwartz. 7th, Andrew Schmeier. Again, we're going to have to figure out how to pronounce his name, and I'll figure that out this week and make sure I bring the correct pronunciation back next week. Eric Johnson comes in 8th. 9th goes to Alec Martinez. But an unfortunate finish the last time at Pocono, so great work on his part coming in top 10. Thomas Harmon rounds out the top 10. Let's see if I can go to the next 10 here. We got Jeffrey Meyer in the number 50, comes in 11th. Chris James in the 82, 12th. Number 13 goes to Jim Westerfield. 14th, Mike Springer. 15th, Matt Kleinschmidt. 16th, Michael Morley. 17th, Chad Presnall after that unfortunate ending. Dustin Musial comes in 18th. 19th goes to David Wright. 20th to Matthew George. 21st to Spencer Tart, 1 lap down. 22nd to Alexander Russell. 23rd, Aaron James. 24th, Steven Sims. 25th, Christopher. 26th, Mark Johnson. 27th goes to Mike Lemon. 28th, Salvador DeGennaro. 29th, Bill Edwards. 30th, David Wellborn. And the last driver on the list there is Kean Riley Howell. That first wreck cost 4 guys the end of their race. So unfortunate ending of their race this evening, but they will still collect a little bit of points. They did attend, so everybody is in a race to finish here and get into this race for the chase, then chase for the cup. These guys are currently racing for the chase, and hopefully we'll see them all in that final playoff series. We're going to pull up the next race tomorrow night. That's going to be the Pocono 125 and the Winona Road Truck Series here with the Dynasty Racing League. That is going to be right back here at Pocono Raceway, 125 miles. Right here around Pocono, 50 laps in those truck series. Martin, I'll be here. You ready for that one, man?
I should be. I don't know how ready I am driving wise, but hopefully iRacing will cooperate. And
yeah, me either, man. After Spencer Tart's display this evening, I don't know how I feel about racing him tonight after the beating that me and him put on each other last week at Eldora, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I had trouble all week, and that's why I was late to this race. I was having trouble with iRacing loading in Pocono, and it turns out I guess I just needed to re-download Pocono, because once I did that, I was able to get in and watch this race and broadcast it with you guys. And
well, that's good.
I wasn't able to run any of the official races, so unfortunately, not a ton of practice in the trucks. But I have a decent idea how to do Pocono, and I'll definitely get on early enough that I can run a few.
Yeah, spend a little time on that test track tomorrow night.
Yeah, just to see how it's like. Okay, this is how I got to run it. And
well, guys, like I said earlier this evening, I am back full time here with the Dynasty Racing League. I will be back next Tuesday night. Me and Martin will bring you the Glen 110 at Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York. I can't wait for that race next week, Martin. Watkins Glen is just an absolute pleasure. Honestly, I wish I could I know I'm back full time now, right? But I wish I could just take next Tuesday off and race in these Cup cars, because Watkins Glen in the Cup car it's so fun to race.
It's fun.
Man.
It's fun to do.
It's unlike the Indy car. You can't get out of a corner in half a second like you can in one of those Indy cars. It takes some time to get out of the corner. So it's all in the finesse and how you get into it that leads into how you get out of it. And the Glen literally proves everything for anybody who races road. So I can't wait to watch that. The Glen 110 next Tuesday night. Me and Martin will be bringing you that. I know it says at the bottom Getty Buckner and Martin Wenzel. I'm going to give Getty a little bit of a break. Hopefully he can get as much of a break as possible after how much he's broadcast in the last few weeks. Going into that, leading into that, big shout out to him, James Pandolf, Tater Bowman, Martin, yourself, Jordan Gonzalez, David Wellborn Jr., Taylor Busher Benjamin, all the guys involved with the Dynasty Racing League. Eric Weatherholtz for getting that Indy Series off the ground. Guys, join us, please. Not only tomorrow night, but join us on Thursday night. I think we're at Mid-Ohio this week.
Mid-Ohio.
So that should be an awesome road course race on Thursday. Thank you to everybody who tuned in this evening and is watching the race live. And thank you to all the guys on YouTube who are not watching the race live. Thanks for joining us. And the ending of this race was totally worth it. I mean, we had, I think, more cautions this time than last Pocono, but the race felt 3 times as exciting as the last Pocono race. So thanks to everybody who tuned in to watch us, and thanks to all the guys in the Dynasty Racing League, everybody involved with it, all the guys who show up every week and actually race with us. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have the league to broadcast. We would be here tonight. Martin, anything else for our viewers before we sign out of here?
No, that about covers it. See you tomorrow.
Have a great night, guys.